have the bollocks.
Do you really want to go toe-to-toe with me on that?
You've completely, like, what are we doing here? Levy isn't going anywhere.
It's all down to timing, isn't it?
Yes, good evening. Welcome back to the Spurs 5 for episode number 8, which is going to be a busy show. Everyone is fine, so I won't bother asking them. I asked them backstage. But tonight, we have got to talk about Spurs winning their first Premier League game of the season, 3-0 at home to Burnley. Richarlison, is he the answer? Does he stop us needing to buy a new centre-forward? Jed Spence, Christian Romero have both signed new contracts. Mystic Sean, who predicted that we would have a new highest earner at the club, is now correct because Christian Romero is now the highest paid player in Spurs history on £205,000 a week. And maybe Savio pushes that to his other prediction of a record transfer fee. Eze, apparently Leicester City have sold or agreed to sell El Canouse to Crystal Palace. Does that mean that we're going to get a here we go for Eze very, very soon? Is the Savio deal off? Lubo's been telling everybody and anybody that the deal is off, and people are quoting Lubo to me. They're saying it's off, Savva. Lubo told us it's off. So we'll be asking him about that. And other than that, just to let you know before we get going, that Stel did not score a hat-trick at the weekend, so Stel is not in any sort of mud at all today.
Never
guys,
in doubt. Never in doubt.
Let's start. Where do you want to start? Let's get the game out of the way. And then we'll move on to all the other shenanigans because it is very busy with 14 days to go and about 7 hours. Let me start with you, Johnny. Welcome back. Thanks for Joining the Spurs 5. Thank you for being here. It's lovely to see you. Tottenham 3, Burnley 0. Little bit of a mini meltdown from a lot of people before the game about the age of the midfield, but Tottenham ran out easy winners in the end. What did you make of the team? What did you make of the game?
Well, listen, it depends whether you're a glass half full or a glass half empty. Glass half empty. Burnley had 14 shots and a better team probably would have scored. Keeper still looks a bit shaky. Left-hand side was not very impressive. Brennan Johnson not linking well with Jed Spence, and Jed Spence ain't the problem. So we definitely need somebody stronger on the left side. But they're minor picks, right? On the whole, from a positive point of view, it was a good game. We started well. Could have scored very, very early. Burnley came back into the game. Richarlison's first goal, although it looked the easier, was actually the harder of the two because the ball was actually behind him when he took it. Although obviously the second one was the spectacular goal after 17 passes. It's a shame that it was right at the beginning of the season, this goal, because I reckon at the end of the season, that would be the one that sticks in everyone's mind. I doubt that there'll be a better team goal all season. 17 passes, everyone touching the ball and putting it in the net. Richarlison's performance was absolutely fantastic. 2 great goals and involved in winning the ball back for the third to set us up for the third goal. Kudos, absolutely fantastic. Bit different this time. We started PSG 5-3-1-1, and in this game it was back to his tried and tested formation. But this time we had Lucas Bergvall push further forward instead of Papassar, who was pushed further forward in the previous games pre-season. I don't think you can really complain too much about about anything, really. to come away from a team. Yes, they were in the Championship. I think they conceded, was it 17 goals in the whole of the Premier Championship season, and they came here with 13 new signings and got beaten pretty comprehensively. Yes, they're Burnley. Manchester City will be a whole different kettle of fish, but I think having played PSG on the Wednesday and having a short turnaround, I think it was only inevitable that he thought about playing the kids instead of Paulinho and Bentancur. I think it's almost certain that those two will be back into the fold. The interesting thing is that with a fit Richarlison and a fit Solanke, I don't seem to understand why people are arguing who should be first, who should be second. The fact that we got competition is a very good thing. It's something that we haven't had competition for up front. And if the way things are going, I believe that the person who's on fire at the moment should retain his place. But we'd be interested to see. But I think Richarlison should start against City. And that's a brief thing. There you go.
Fair enough. Stel, do you agree with everything Johnny said there? Anything to add? He said that he can't see any negatives. I'm sure we can find one if we try. But how did you think the game went?
I agree with most of what Johnny said. If I was to add anything to it, I think we created absolutely nothing in that midfield. The only time we created midfield is when Richarlison dropped into the midfield to help set up the third goal. So it took our striker to go in midfield to help the midfield create. Down the left, I agree. Absolutely useless. Kudus, head and shoulders above any forward attacking midfield player we've got in that team right now. Head and shoulders, not even close. Beats the man, has the pace, has the strength. His crossing is on point. Everything went through him. Not surprised he got a couple of assists. He was... Take him out of that team. We're not winning 3-0. No chance. He is an excellent buy. And I think for 50 million, that's what you expect when you spend 50 million. That's what I want to see from a 50 million pound player. We definitely need to strengthen that midfield. I'm going to praise the midfield a little bit here because it's still a Premier League team. We played against Burnley and we put 3 kids in that midfield. And before the game, I said, shit, 3 kids in midfield. This might be a bit uncomfortable. But you know what? They didn't create anything, but they held their own. They broke up the play. They got the ball moving around the pitch. So they weren't ineffective. They just weren't creative. But they did a job. I think a better team definitely scores. I'm not getting carried away with the game at all because Burnley are probably going to be the favourites to get relegated. But having said that, look, first game of the season, 3 goals, clean sheet, 3 points. We're in a positive position in the league table. And I'm going to give a little bit of a big up to someone no one's really given a big up to. And I never really big him up, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to big up Brennan Johnson. I'll tell you why. He did absolutely nothing for 90 minutes. Maybe, well, however long he was on the pitch for. But you know what? Love him, hate him, disrespect him, whatever you may think. He scores goals. Brennan Johnson, whether it's a tap-in, a deflection, the goal he took was actually a really well-timed run and a really good finish. So I'm going to give him praise because for as little as he brings to this team, he puts the ball in the back of the net. And you know what? That is gold. It's gold dust to have a player in your squad that can consistently score. Every team needs a player like that. We've got one. Just so happens he doesn't do anything else. So I am going to give him a little bit of praise despite him not doing anything else. But goals are goals, man, and we need it. We're going to need those goals this season. So, look, good start. 3 points, 3 goals, clean sheet. We can't complain.
Lubo, anything to add?
Untidy start, I thought, first half. Good start. Untidy first 45 overall. Second half, much better. Sarr, Kudus, Richarlison for me, main 3. We're going to have far tougher tests this season. It's always nice to get off to a good start. And the first clean sheet since Man United on February 16th in the league. So those are the plus points. Looking forward to seeing how we play on Saturday. You know, it's been a really encouraging start to the season. In the last 7 days. So thank you. 1 cup of tea. So no, all good for me. All good for me.
Is he getting VIP service during a live show?
Don't get this on Sky Sports.
I know, yeah. As you were saying, Lubo, back to the football, as you were saying.
That was it. No,
Sandwich.
really encouraging.
Oh, that was it. That was it. Okay.
We've had a good week. You want me to tell you what I thought? Gray had a decent cameo, particularly second half. Bergvall got stronger as the game got on. Listen, it's all looking good, and it's been a very good day today, isn't it? I'm sure you'll come on to that a bit later, with my captain, but not the best game he played on Saturday, but.
I was going to say, it's funny how you say he's your captain when he gets a new contract, but you failed to mention just how awful he was during the game on Saturday.
First half, he was poor, wasn't he?
He was
a lot
really
of misplaced passes.
But it is what it is. Sean,
yeah.
It's difficult, isn't it? When you win a game 3-0, it's really difficult to come on and give anything really juicy. I don't know if you can try, or what did you make of it overall? And do you agree with what all the lads have said?
Yeah, there's not much more to say, really. That's not already been said. I thought that Pape Sarr, I don't think Stel did the midfield justice. I agree with him in the sort of the deeper roles, but I thought Pape Sarr was very good. I think he won 4 out of 5 of his aerial duels. I think he won like 5 out of 6 of his dribbles. He was successful, got the assist. I think he played very well. I think he's slowly emerging as an option, just as we're about to solve the crisis that is hopefully about to solve the crisis that has emerged in our sort of creative spark in the 10. So be interesting to see how we use him going forward. If we can, first of all, finalize the deal, and second of all, keep them fit. Where do we see people like Pape Sarr who have been, really outstanding the last couple of games, for me, and trying to sort of show what their unique sort of specificity can offer. But yeah, really great efforts from Richarlison as well. Yeah, Kudus, sensational, absolutely sensational. And look, if the Savio deal is off, then we have to go and get someone like him that can do something similar to what Kudus can do on the left. But if it's still on and can happen, him on the left, imagine how powerful it's going to be when you have a player on the right like a Kudus who can stand there with a man who's one-on-oneing him, and he can still just drop his shoulder and go to the byline with the ball into the danger zone. And then you have people like Richarlison that can be in the right place at the right time. And I would say the same thing with a fully fit Solanke. If you can do the same thing on the left-hand side, it creates even more space. So I really hope that, even if this Savio deal even if that Bellegay guy is early on that news and it's true, then there's other options out there. I'm sure we'll come to them. But we absolutely need a dual threat because it becomes incredibly difficult for opposition to man-to-man mark out on the wing. And then, like I say, if they ask for support because you've got Kudus just that can take a guy on and beat him every time, you have the same on the other side, then they're going to need support. And then you're just going to have acres of space in the midfield for people like the 8, the 10, and the forward to be able to benefit. So loads of positives so far, but it was Burnley. So let's all kind of keep that context in mind. Next week is Manchester City, a far harder test. But look, we faced a tougher team in PSG. I know there was context to that as well. But if we go to Man City and go back to a back 3 and do something similar with a few more minutes in the legs, if you can keep Kudus on the pitch and have that outlet. And look, we've got a good record there. So I think you have to keep the context of who we beat and how comfortable it was. But at the same time, the big test is coming next week. And but I think that we've shown against PSG that we might be able to, if we can deliver something like a similar sort of performance, then we might have a chance of getting something out of that game as well. So really no complaints from the club, from me right now. Everything that looks like what's trying to happen off the pitch. There's deals been done with new contracts for certain players. There's hopefully deals coming in for new players. And it looks like everybody's pulling in the same direction at the football club. And I think that Romero deal, I know we're going to talk about it, I think that doesn't happen unless there's been reassurances that he would have been asking for around what the ambition looks like. And so hopefully he's been reassured with some actual honesty that we are going to be trying our best to give Thomas Frank what he needs in the last few weeks. And like I say, right now, it might be a boring answer, but it's all looking pretty healthy at the club.
Yeah, let's while we're talking about healthy things, let's talk about somebody who was a standout from that game. Let's talk about Kudus to begin with. I'll be honest. I think Stel was absolutely spot on. For me, he is the best footballer at this club right now by a country mile. Technique, ability, skill, strength. He's a footballer. Do you know what I mean? He's not, let's just run or let's tap in, or he's a footballer. Just how good was he, guys? And doesn't it go to show that sometimes when people are just looking at GA, for example, when we're just looking at, oh, but he didn't have a great year at West Ham, it goes to show that it doesn't tell you always about the ability of a player. What do we make of him, guys?
Well, I think if you're looking at kudos, I mean, there's that video of the two Man United fans I posted the other day of them sitting there saying, let him have him. Let him have kudos. He's been absolutely shit. He doesn't want to be at the club. Well, what did he do last year? 3 goals, 5 assists. It's absolute rank. He obviously is fallen off of a cliff. And that's probably why, we got him for the £55 million bargain. Because looking at, the prices being quoted for players, Jacob Ramsey going for 46 million. I think there's no comparison at all between a Jacob Ramsey and a Mohamed Kudus. So I just think that with the right coaching, I never thought that he was the finished article. I've got to be honest with you. Loads and loads of promise, great skill, brilliant take on. But I never thought he was the actual finished article. Sometimes he, for West Ham, he would overplay it, carry it too far. And I think Thomas Frank will instill in him a lot more to his game. In fact, if you saw his interview after the game, he himself said, I've got a lot of improvement to be made. And this manager will get me to the level that I need to be. And when you look at him at 25 and where he is now and where he could be with the right coaching, and let's be honest, playing with far better players than he was playing with at West Ham, the sky's the limit. The relationship that he's obviously got with Richarlison, if you listen to Thomas Frank, he often speaks about relationships between players, whether it's on the wing or the interchange and the triangles on the flanks. And you could obviously see that the goal that he scored, the 2 assists that he made for Richarlison didn't come by chance. These have been worked on in training, and we're early doors into this. And if you add in a quality left winger and you add in an EZE and the relationships that will start to form with those players, I think we should be genuinely very, very excited. You're looking at Man United yesterday with the exciting forward play that they had. I think Spurs will be just as exciting if we can secure EZE and a quality left-sided winger. I think we've got a lot to be excited about.
Yeah. I mean, guys, it's lovely to see a player that can cross as well. Not every 1 in 10. Lovely to see that he's dropped his shoulder, gets in the accurate cross.
And the way he went round the left back, just so comfortably for the first goal. Dropped the shoulder, went round, didn't even beat him. He just went wide of him and whipped it in. And great finish. Now, listen, he's been absolutely superb. You look at the last 2 games, which I think are the 2 main games that you take notice of. The 2 proper games, competitive games, and Kudus has been superb. They just don't get near him. The defenders just can't get the ball off him. He holds it, he holds them off, brings the ball round either foot. I think he's superb. I think it's been a tremendous buy, and I think so far so good. Polinia will be, when he's up to speed, he's going to be a monster as well. So it's, for me, it's looking good. The whole thing is. And you can see that they're playing, it's structured, it's organised. It's, players don't jump out of position. They, it's, for me, it's the best early part of the season that I can remember since probably halfway through the Poch era.
Yeah. I mean, Sean, Kudus for you. I know you mentioned him. What do you? It's early days, but
Yeah, it's one game.
Barca-
It's the best start to the season since the
That's what I was
Potter.
thinking.
We played Burnley. It's one game.
No,
Didn't we go 10 games unbeaten a couple of years ago?
I'm talking about the way the team's set up, the way they're playing for each other. 2 games.
Yeah,
It's not
I
just,
see what
not just
I see what
Burnley.
you're
I'm talking about PSG as well.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I mean, I consider the Burnley, the PSG game, like it was a good demonstration, but I would still consider it to be a preseason thing. But look, certainly the fact that we've got the ability to shapeshift and to be a chameleon and to represent what we need to do, to get things done, that is very refreshing. Haven't seen that for many times. We didn't see that under Ange. We didn't see that under Conte. We barely saw that under Mourinho. They all had their own unique style of playing, and they basically played it the same way the whole time. Thomas Frank in 2 different games has played 2 different styles, right? And the big one, the game against PSG, call it a preseason friendly or a cup final, whichever one you think of it. At the end of the day, we hadn't seen it before we saw it at all in any of the earlier games when there was chances to experiment. So in terms of that regard, I 100% I agree that it's an interesting start. It's a very positive start, but I'm not going to get like sort of wrapped up in some obscene positivity because we saw what happened against Bayern Munich. Manchester City could do if Manchester City go and put 4 past us on Saturday, then the meltdown will resume very, very quickly. That's the way that Tottenham fans it's from feast to famine, isn't it, all the time? So I'm going to sort of keep my powder dry on it for a while. But in terms of Kudus, I think Kudus is the most exciting signing we've had in an offensive position for a long time. The first time I saw Mickey van der Ven play, and in his debut, I think it was, he stretched his legs and he did that couple of slide tackles to get us out of trouble. I think we were all like, oh, wow, okay, we've got something here. But in terms of an offensive player, I don't really remember, being that excited for a long time. So lots to come, but that's what I still think that he'll, like, at the moment, if that's all we've got, then the Premier League are very clever. Like the other teams, the coaches, the resources that they put into watching tape and setting templates and all that stuff, they're very, very clever. If we end on any level, if we end the window something looking like it does now, which I don't think it will, but just on the off chance it does, it will be incredibly easy for the template to be set to man mark him out of the game, and then Tottenham Hotspur will be back to type. So that's why it's critical that we get EZE done. And even if, like I say, I've got no idea about the whole the Savio thing. I would love it if we got Savio. I think then I'm so excited about what will happen. But if not him, there's still plenty of other left wingers out there. It's the most oversaturated position in football, in my opinion. And so I'm sure we'll come to it. But like we just need more options, more outlets, more creativity in a bunch of different. And then it becomes very difficult to prepare against Tottenham. It becomes impossible to template against us. And then you can start to get a little bit more excited as the season pans out.
Agreed. Stel, let me come to you and to round off this segment as well. I'm going to ask you to just go into the next question as well, which isn't a new segment, still part of it. I want you to talk to me about Kudus, and then I want to go into Richarlison. We've got to, he did have a great game Saturday, 2 great finishes. And I just wanted to ask you, I'll set off the tempo to try and get a bit of spark going. Are the fans doing it again? Player has good game. People lose their mind. All of a sudden, don't need a new striker. Kudus and then Richarlison. Stel?
Kudus is the best winger we've signed since Heung-min Son. He's a proper winger. He beats the man. He takes on the man. He always looks to take on the man and get in a decent cross into the box. And he finds a Spurs player in the box as well. How many wingers have you seen? Just in recent years, Johnson, Tell, Odebert, Solomon. Solomon was only here for 4 games. You name it. You name any winger we've put on those flanks. They rarely take on the man. If they do, it's never really with much conviction. And when they get down the byline, they just smash it into the box. Like Werner, sprints as fast as he can, gets to the byline, just smashes it kneecap height into the box, hoping something happens, right? Mm-hmm. Kudus is a winger. He's a proper wide player. That's what we've been saying we need. We've been saying this for years. We need wingers. So for me, we've finally got a proper winger at the club. And it looks so easy for him. It looked easy. I don't even think he was challenged. And let me ask something. You name a Spurs player that just relaxed, comfortable, showboats the way Kudus did. The ball comes on the byline and he catches the ball behind his standing leg with his other leg. listen,
You can't
the
teach
fact
that,
he-
Stel, can you? You
No,
can't teach
no.
that to players. You've got it or you haven't, right? You can't teach it.
You've either practiced that all your life or you've got it, right? One of the
Yeah.
two. And
Yeah.
and he did it just for shits and giggles. He's like, yeah, do you know what? Because I can, I'm going to take my first touch like this and I'm going to pull it off. So I think Sean's right. Get another player of that caliber on the other flank, and then oh my god, we're gonna cause problems for a lot of teams. And then if you put a 10 in that squad as well, who knows what we might do? But Richarlison, he's got a lot to prove before I get excited about him, right? I thought his first goal, Johnny's spot on. It was very hard because the ball did go behind him. He was changing his body shape and stretching for that, and he did well to get it on target, let alone score. The second goal, we've seen him do that before. He did it for Brazil in the World Cup. We've seen him score a goal like that, so we know he's got that one kind of wonder moment in him. I think Everton away, he scored a banger as well for Spurs, a long-range goal, top bins. So we know he's got that odd goal in him. So I wasn't stunned that he scored it. I was stunned that he did it again. So it was a great finish. That second goal was an unbelievable. He couldn't have caught that ball any sweeter if he tried. As soon as it connected his boot, you knew it was back of the net. Sometimes you hear the sound of the ball hitting the boot. You know it's going in just by the sound. And it was one of those. So look, he hasn't done anything pre-season goal-wise. We play a team that's one of the favourites to get relegated. He turns up, okay? Good. I'm glad he turned up because we need goals. If he does it against City, then he does it against Bournemouth at home, and he goes on a bit of run, there's a conversation to be had as to whether Frank is getting a tune out of him. But until that happens, for me, good game from him, but I'm not jumping on any bandwagon because a player had one good game. I'm not doing that. What I will say, though, is his pressing game does look a lot better based on pre-season and yesterday. That does look better from him. He is pressing better. So, yeah, I'm not getting carried away, but good goals, man. They were good goals, very good goals.
Anyone else on the Richy piece? I mean, listen, just for what it's worth, I mean, I haven't given an opinion so far in half an hour. I echo everything Stel said. Great finishes, great goals. Really pleased because someone's got to. But in true Spurs fashion, I am seeing just such an overreaction to a player who's done very little for 3 years after one game. I'm sure we're going to get a few differing opinions here. I'll leave it there. That's
One
what I'm
game?
saying.
Is it one game though, Savva? I don't, you know, I can hear what you're saying. I don't think it's one game. If I'm brutally honest, you think it's one game. I'm not. I don't think.
When else has he done that?
Well, I'm just about to tell you. Right, he did it in the final in Bilbao. He was a standout player in Bilbao. He wasn't the best player, but he was a standout player. And anyone who thought that he wasn't a top player and a real handful against PSG needs to re-examine the game. And what did they say? Confidence breeds confidence. They're probably the fittest we've probably seen him in these last 3 big games, probably. And we know confidence breeds confidence. Look at Darwin Núñez, can't hit a barn door. And yet you look at someone like Mateta, right? Before Oliver Glasner came, he couldn't shoot, couldn't hit anything. And Oliver Glasner's come in and honed him. And now all of a sudden, he's finding the back of the net and he looks a real handful every time he goes out. All I'm saying is if he can stay fit, his record when he has stayed fit for Spurs, and there have been few and far between and nowhere near enough, has been very, very good. Right? So we shall see.
Isn't this true though, like Johnny? Because so what I was saying when you said we've seen it's not just one game, I was talking about the goal scoring. From the goal scoring aspect, yeah. Listen, if we want to praise strikers for working hard and their work and their pressing, I've got no problem with praising them for that. But when it comes to ability, when it comes to goal scoring, when it comes to for me, I can't really remember Richarlison doing too much in 3 years.
All right, 9 goals in the last 9 home games.
Sure. But I mean, are you now saying would you want another striker, Johnny? or would you be comfortable keeping?
No, I
Richy?
said to Sean. I've said this to Sean already that I think that why should we limit ourselves to only 2 strikers? I would buy another young striker personally. I like Idris Gueye at Metz, but look, you look at Nottingham Forest. They got Calamando, they've got Chris Wood, they've got Igor Jesus. They bought him for Botafogo. They've got 3 good strikers. Why should we? Why should we limit ourselves to this belief that
Forest play with 2 up top though, right? Most of the time.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is, look, if we end up, guys, with one injury, just one injury between the 2 of them, and it's likely and possible that we're going to be sat there with one striker who's going to have to play Champions League, Premier League, and everything else, and that's not sustainable. So I personally would 100% be looking to sign another striker, regardless of the form of the front 2.
Johnny, Richarlison's 28 years old, right? I've never seen him have a good season, like ever. And when you say he was the standout player in Bilbao, I don't buy that.
I didn't. I said one of the standout players.
What did he do in Bilbao that was standout? Like for me, Van der Ven and Romero really stood out. Richarlison didn't stand out for me in Bilbao.
If you think he didn't have a good game in the final, then that's your prerogative. I thought he had a very good game in the final.
What did he do?
If you don't think he had a good game in the final,
I'm asking you what he did, not what I think. What did he? I'm asking you. Explain it. What did he do?
It was a handful the whole game, mate, and you know it.
When you're saying a handful, are we talking?
I don't think he was at all.
Are we talking work rate and bustling, or because
work rate, bustling, putting himself about? Yeah.
Hang on. Let me get the question over, right? But from a goal scoring perspective, he wasn't a handful in PSG or at Man United. He was a goal scoring threat against Burnley. I would expect him to be because essentially it's a championship team.
Is that all a striker is?
No, but hang on. I'm not saying that all a striker is, but when we're going back to this 9 goals in his last 9 games.
No, you just because he said he's not scoring.
Hang on. Can I finish the sentence, Johnny? Hang on, mate. Can I finish the sentence before you cut in? I'm looking back, right? I'm looking back to this 9 in 9. I'm looking back at his last 20 games. This man has not done what anyone is saying. He hasn't done 9 in 9. I'm looking at his last games. Where are these 9 in 9 goals coming from? Can anyone tell me?
Right, Richarlison shit. Move him on, yeah?
That's not what. No. So that's your answer because you can't answer my question, right?
No.
I've asked you a question, and your answer is Richarlison shit. Move him on because you ain't got an answer.
No, I've got.
Where's these 9 in 9 coming from?
Right,
he didn't. Hang on. He didn't score against PSG. Didn't score against Man United. Didn't score against Brighton.
No, it was 9 home games. I think the stat wasn't it? The last 9 home games or something. Is that right? Like the last 9 home games.
Johnny said 9 home games. Johnny said 9.
Okay, but even if you're looking at the last 9 home games he's played in, he's not scored in the last 9 home games.
The last 9 he started, I think, was the stat. I'm pretty sure someone said it to me earlier.
Sure. Well, so we're bending a lot of.
So he's only good if he starts and we're at home.
Right. Stel,
you know what, guys? I'll tell you what. Right? Okay. You only want to look at one aspect of a football match and one aspect of a footballer, right? Okay. Has he been available? No. Has he been available? No. Right. Pardon?
He's a striker.
I understand he's a striker. So
isn't that an important aspect when I'm judging the
footballer? I didn't say it wasn't an important aspect. Right. If you let me finish what I was saying, what I said was he has not been available enough. He hasn't played enough. He's been injured too much. But when he has played, he has contributed to the team. Right. And if you think that it's just about scoring goals, it's not. It's about holding the ball. It's about creating space for other people to exploit as well. And if you think he had a shit game against PSG and a shit game against Man United, that's your prerogative. That's football. It's about opinions. I don't share that opinion, right? I don't share that opinion. Has he been a disappointment in a Spurs shirt? Categorically, yes, right? Can't argue with that. But I'm saying confidence breeds confidence. And I believe in the last 3 games, he's shown signs of a player that's found his confidence and found his fitness.
But Johnny, can I just say, I just want to say a few things here, right? So first of all, I'm looking at him last season. He managed 4 goals in the league, 1 across 5 domestic cup games and 1 across 7 European games. Like, what is that? That's not good, is it? In any way, shape, or
What did I
form?
just say? What did I just say? What did I just say? I just agreed with you.
I don't know.
I just
Right.
agreed.
To be fair, in the Premier League, he got 1 goal every 110 minutes, 125 minutes.
Can I say,
Sure,
if I had
sure.
to choose between Richarlison and Solanke, I agree with Johnny, right? I'd have Richarlison because we
I
had
agree.
these debates last year. When you put them side by side, even the stats back Richarlison over Solanke.
I
But
agree.
I think both average players, and neither of them has proven in one season that they can be really,
100%.
really good. I think
100%.
Richie works hard. I think his pressing's good. I don't think he was a standout player in Bilbao. He hasn't proven anything to me because he had a really good game against a really weak team. But after 10 games, because I think Richie's going to start a striker every week now. After 10 games, I'm more than happy to come back to this and be proven wrong, or to say, guys, I did kind of say this. But right as it stands now, I would take a better striker than Richarlison all day long if Spurs could sign one. All day long.
I've got to be honest with you. Listen, look, he's a good chance that I don't think he's going to break down like he did before, because the way he's being monitored now with everything from diet to fitness training and all the rest of it, which wasn't being done properly, not just with him, but various other members of the squad, including Kuti. But I just, you cannot argue with his poor performance. You cannot argue with his terrible return in a Spurs shirt. All right. But I think before he came for Everton, I think he had something like 100 games without being injured. So I think, maybe the rest would have done him good. I'm just saying confidence breeds confidence. And if you can start scoring and start delivering, then, but as it is at the moment, prior, you can't argue. But I'm talking about where we are from here moving forward with him. And I think he's, we need competition up front. I still feel we need another striker, though. I'll say it again. I'm in agreement with Stel in the fact that I don't think either of them have hit the mark as far as goal return and what we'd expect from a top striker. We need at least 1 20-goal a season striker.
Do you think that
Very
striker
few 20-goal a season strikers these days, though. Very few.
Do you think that striker, Sean? Let me ask you. Let me bring you in. I want to get your take on Richarlison, but also, do you think that it's okay to say we want a third striker? Isn't the problem going to be that a striker's going to turn around now and look and say, well, I've got Richy there and Solanke. So how good an option are you really buying? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, look, you have 25 spots in the squad, right? So there's two players per position, and then a couple of utility players. So you've got to make up your mind what that utility player looks like. And if you're going to be pivoting from 2 centre backs to 3, then you can make the argument that you might need 5 or 6 starting centre backs. But if you do that, then you're not going to have the option to have a third striker. There's only so much space you can do, unless you were to go and get someone who's 18, 19, 20, whatever, and put them in that, in the kind of youth side of the squad. So that's one consideration. 2, I generally agree. I don't think that Solanke or Richarlison are better. I think the overall better striker is Solanke. I think he's not fit right now. So if we're using the fact that we traditionally have thought that, or at least I'll speak for myself here, if we're traditionally thinking that Richarlison's not good enough, and then because when he hasn't been good enough, those people that defend him say he's just not fully fit. And then as soon as Richarlison's back and has a couple of good games, and then we see that Solanke's underperforming relative to Richarlison, we got to give him the same leniency and say, well, he's not fully fit either. I would like to see what both Solanke and Richarlison can do over an extended period of time. I think that I'd like a better striker, 100%. And if you made me pick right now which of the 2 strikers to sell, because I don't think there's enough space for 3, as I already said, unless you go and get a kid, then I think I'd probably rather sell. I definitely would rather sell Richarlison personally. I think Solanke's got more about him. However, I want to see both of them fully fit and then give them both the fair crack. What I would also say is there's obviously still opportunity cost. Right? If we get EZE done for, say, 60 million quid, and hopefully Savio or someone like him for 65, 70 million quid, then where do you go next? If you only have one more signing that you can do, and you probably, if you're overpaying for Savio and you're overpaying for EZE to some degree, then you probably aren't going to have a massive budget for that extra player. I think that you could make the argument that a defender or a fullback is just as important, but they come cheaper. So you get more quality, you get more bang for your buck at that end of the pitch. If you're going to go at the top end of the pitch to get anyone that's better than Solanke or Richarlison, you're going to need to drop 60, 70 million quid. And I just don't think we have the money to do 70 million quid there, 70 in the 10 and 70 for a left winger all in the same final 3 weeks. So for that reason, I don't know.
Where's the trust in your chairman gone? Where's the trust in your chairman gone?
My chairman.
You don't think he's going to drop two? You don't think he's going to do 370 million bombers in the next week?
Have you seen?
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it, mate. I love
What the hell is that, Sean?
It's so good. I don't get it. It's so good.
Lubo, let's round off this conversation with you before we move into. We've got the new contracts, and we've also got the obviously EZE. I know we've talked loads, but it's there. It's there. Richarlison, Solanke, could they end up potentially both blocking each other from getting the goals or from getting a run of games? Is that the problem when you've got two guys who probably both at the same level? What do you reckon?
I think number one, you need competition,
mm-hmm.
and one or the other's been injured quite regularly. So to have both of them fit now, and hopefully scoring goals is good for the team. Would I get a third striker? Definitely. Didn't seem to stop Liverpool. I know Salah's not, I'll say, a forward, a goal scoring forward. For 40 million, I'd go and get Vissa. For me, and have the three of them.
Yeah. I'd love him starting over both of them, but yeah, sure.
Semedo, go get Semedo.
So you can never have enough good players in a squad. So you're right. Why, if one gets injured, one gets cropped for 3 months, you've got one striker for every single game.
You got Matisse Tell. I'm guessing that is going to be used as a
same argument though. It's the same argument. If you lose, I don't know, Romero, you've got one more right-sided centre back for however long. Like that's just the way it works in football is that you like the squad limitations. Unless you go and get an 18, 19, 20-year-old, then you know.
But sure, you've got Vuskovic there, haven't you? So there's your 18-year-old.
Yeah, but he might be going out on loan. And by the way, I disagree. I agree with you, Lubo. That's one of the reasons why I think we should keep him around.
Definitely.
Because I think you will have an injury. But I just think that you can't have 15 players in the same position in your squad just in case 14 of them get injured. I know I'm being hyperbolic, but that's just like the reality is that at some point you have to take the risk that keeping everybody happy is difficult if everyone's fit. If everyone gets injured in the same position at the same time, you are screwed. It is how it is.
Listen, I don't rate him, but Lubo, isn't that kind of what Matisse Tell is
or Johnson
kind of
or any of
the left side? Johnson, I suppose, is a bit of a hybrid of a striker and a left. I mean, this is why I don't want to keep both of them. I know this is probably not a popular opinion, but this is why I didn't want to keep both Richy and Solanke. I think we need one that is a slightly different profile to those two. For me, they're too similar. For me, they're both patchy. For me, they've both had, I'll be honest, sorry if this offends anyone, they've both had very underwhelming careers. Both of them are like a one every 3.5, 4 games. That's why I would like one of them to move out and get someone a bit quicker, a bit more nippy. It's something, just a whisper, something different. It's only me, Lubo. What do you think?
I think we should have 3 strikers. If you've got a squad of 25 plus a couple of kids knocking around, you've got 26, 27 in your squad. And for me, we need, we've got some long-term injuries as well. We need 3 strikers. I think to have 2 with a season that's looking probably, at the moment, you've got 38 league games, you've got 8 Champions League, you've got 1 Carabao Cup, 1 FA Cup. So you've got a minimum of 48. And you could have a maximum of 60 plus, if the team have an unbelievable
Well, Tell and
season.
Johnson, as I just said, they're options to go into that area, aren't they?
Well, would you want, God forbid, if Richy...
Not that I want. No, that's not the point. It's not what I want, but they are options to go in there, right?
Sure, yes, but you're looking... would you want Tell, if Richy and Solanke, God forbid, got injured 2 games running?
I don't want Richy and Solanke either.
Jesus, we're in trouble here.
Yeah, but that's the same. We're going back around in circles, right? You can't have 4 strikers on the off chance that 3 get injured at the same time. So if you want to bring in Vissa for 40 million quid in that argument, in that context, then that will mean you sacrifice bringing another centre back in all likelihood, right? Because as much as we think there's investment coming in, there's nothing confirmed about that. And Tottenham have, if we buy 65 on EZE, 70 on someone like a someone like a Savio, I'd be very surprised if there was another 40 million up, behind the sofa for Vissa, and then another 50 million quid for whatever it is they want to do at the centre back or in the left back spot. So I think we have to be sort of, shake hands with some sort of reality around how much more we can really do this summer. So would you rather see a third striker come in and then no left winger? Or would you rather lower the budget and not go after a Savio, but go and get a Malik Fofana for half the money you're going to spend on a Savio, and then use the difference to go and get a striker? I'm trying to figure out realistically how the money gets pushed around.
There is money. So.
Yeah, but how much money, Johnny? How much money?
Well, it would depend also whether or not if we managed to sell Basuma, or whether we sell anyone else between now, like Solomon, for example. I mean, if we got 25 million for 2025 for Solomon, and we got 20 million for Basuma, 45 million, then there's a possibility.
People get 20 million for Basuma.
I'm just saying, 2025. Look, 15 million then. Okay.
Okay. Fine. I'm just saying. Okay, whatever. I'm just
saying. 15 million,
Sean,
20 million.
Sean, look, for me, guys, we're not getting another striker. Frank's been brought in to develop a lot of the existing squad, and I think for this season it will be Richarlison and Solanke, no other striker, and he's going to have to develop another goal scorer within the team. That's honestly how I see this playing out. And if we do bring in another attacker, it will be a left-sided player or a number 10, hopefully both, but probably one. That's honestly what I think. And I've been saying it for a few weeks now, that Frank's going to be expected to work with a lot of this squad. And I think the closer we get to transfer window, deadline day, I think the more people are going to maybe begin to see it that way too. But we've still got 15 days.
Hang on, but isn't he about to be bought 4 to 5 first team players?
No, I mean, as in, he's going to have, in terms of the goal scorer, Savva, I think he's going to be expected to develop the existing players to convert, as opposed to bringing in goal scorers.
I do think there's only so much we can do. Like, when we move into the transfer, etc. But I think if somebody said to me right now that this window we're going to get in a DM, a right winger, a left winger, and a playmaker, I'm comfortable, by the way, just the word comfortable, right? That Solanke and Richarlison are the forwards for this season, and then go again next summer. I'm comfortable with that. What I'm not comfortable with is if you don't bring in a top left winger, then I think you need to bring in a 100%. Yeah. So, but I listen, I think that the interesting thing for me is, I don't think, by the way, people can't actually understand what I'm saying. I don't think that either Solanke or Richarlison are, oh my God, these are the world's worst strikers. I think they're both okay, right? What's going to be interesting as the season goes on is to see if one of them becomes the main striker, whether or not they're just constantly rotated, how that affects both of them. And if you can get 12 to 15 goals from both of them, that's okay.
It's good, yeah.
How
many strikers got 20 goals last season in the Premier League?
Yeah, like 3 or something.
Five, I think, was it?
Well,
I'm
comfortable with that, Sean. I'm comfortable with that as long as the other areas have been addressed. If you've got, we'll come to this bit. If you've got EZE in the 10, Kudus and Savio, I'm happy with that. And then you go, right, next summer is where we're going to go for a big Bumba striker. I'm comfortable with that. I am. But if you don't get the 11, I think EZE's coming. We'll talk about that. I think if you don't get the 11, and now all of a sudden you haven't got a good striker, a top striker or a top left winger, now I think we start to look weaker. So I think it's all about not being able to do everything in one window while still making yourself very, very strong. Guys, listen, let me get some super chats. By the way, you guys have been absolutely terrible with the likes. There are 1,500 people in here right now and 360 likes. People, come on. Some of us have been streaming all day, and we're giving you more and more hours. Come on. The least you can do is just hit hit a like button. And thank you to everybody who has subscribed. We've had about 25 subscribers tonight, so thank you for that. But please do smash that like button. It's really important. Let's get to the super chats and then we'll move on. Big up to Dean Law. Thank you very much for the super sticker. Thank you for starting that train. We really appreciate that. Next stop is the Etihad. Big up, Dean Law. Thank you very, very much, my man. Big up to D&B Forever. Always in chats, always putting in super stickers. Thank you, buddy. Really appreciate that. Tottenham, Trevs, Football Talk. Thank you very much. Said Papa Sargent, come on, quality in both games. Yeah, I think we said, listen, he started the season very well. The interesting thing is going to be, is there a place for Papa Sarr when an EZE joins? Because when an EZE joins, if Bentancur and Paulinho are your first two, Sarr's going to have to fight to get back into that 11. We'll talk about that a bit later, but thank you very much. Big up to Lubo, her up, has said, fascinating. Fans very divided on Gray versus Burnley. I don't know about you boys. I don't know if I've genuinely got the energy for an Archie Gray debate tonight. We did it yesterday night. I'm sure his name will come up, but each to their own. Lubo are up. Some people loved it. Other people thought it was underwhelming. I guess it falls into the category of it is what it is, but thank you very much. And Chopped Cheese is here, as always, talking about farts. I said, Kudos has me ripping arse like Lubo at the Levy protest. Yes, a very successful protest that Lubo told me about. So, look, thank you for talking about farts. Really appreciate that. Always talking about the farts. Big up to you. Guys, girls, as I said, smash the like button as we move into the next segment of the show. Thank you very much. Guys, I'm going to start with, I think we've got to, before we get to the contracts, I think we've got to get to, we've had big news apparently today on Savio, but we've definitely had some big news on EZE. These are the two names, guys, that are being bandied about. And you know what we're like as fans. We hear a couple of names and we now can't concentrate on any other names that aren't in that bubble. It's inconceivable that it might not be one of those names. Stel, let me start with you. The news came out this morning from Fabrizio Romano that today was the day that Steve Parish and Daniel Levy actually met to try and conclude this deal at 55 million plus 5 million in add-ons, and that this deal would get done as long as Crystal Palace get their guy, which is El Canouse. Or Solis. Solis looks like it's a no-go because he's just signed a new contract with Bruges. But El Canouse looks like it's getting wrapped up. What do you make of the whole situation?
Right, I'll say my bit. I'm just going to repeat what I've been saying for the last 2 years. And then you guys can have a chat about transfers. And I'll just sit back. I don't listen to the journalists, the ITKs, people that know someone in the club, someone here, someone there, the agents that go on these shows and YouTube channels and tell us all the gossip and speculation. It's the biggest con. It's the biggest money-grabbing clickbait subscribe. I think the whole thing's a scam. They've created an industry of speculation that drives fans wild. It's great for content creators like us and podcasters and everyone else. It's the biggest load of nonsense. No one's in the boardroom with Levy, Paratici, and the transfer team other than them. We all think we know someone. Or look, at the end of the day, guys,
Lubo does.
Until they're wearing, we all do. We all do, right?
I don't know anyone. Lubo knows loads of people.
Look, I'll say this. When I said the kids aren't going to get a proper crack last year, it's because I spoke to Simon Davies, and I said I've spoken to Simon Davies. He's told me, and then as it played out, it kind of, well, I didn't know if it was going to happen. I just shared what he told me. That's kind of what happened, right? Most people can't disclose names because they might lose their contacts or it's a friend and they don't want to ruin a relationship. I get that. That makes sense. I'd do the same. But a lot of these journos with their credible sources, mate, it's waffle, right? On literally, I'll give an example. On Saturday, I get messages sent to me. Eze is going to be left out of the squad on Sunday against Chelsea. They're not going to play him. He's out of the squad. He's coming to Spurs. Oh, my God, it's happening. It's happening. I wake up Sunday. I get messages. Eze's in the squad. Eze's going to play against Chelsea. I'm thinking, so are all those people on Saturday going to apologise for all the lies they created? And all the people on Sunday, they're going to apologise for what they said on Saturday. And this goes on and on and on. And we've been, guys, we've been here before, right? none of us saw Kudus coming to Spurs. Just one of you guys last week said it. I think it was Sean, actually. He said, I hate agreeing with Sean. I think Sean said that.
Why?
I don't know.
You'd be so much happier to be right more often, mate. Just agree with me, and then you're on the right side of history. It's okay.
Well, as I rarely agree with you, you can't be right that often, right? So you I believe you said, just correct me if I'm wrong, you said a lot of things just come out of left field. And Kudus is a great example of that. Just out of nowhere, Kudus. I'm like, whoa, we didn't see that coming. Look, if we get EZE, great.
And Gibbs White and Oda Bear, there was loads of examples recently.
All right, there's a few, but let's talk about all the ones like Ivan Toney, Neto, Gallagher that didn't happen. And I look at it and I think,
do you not believe do you not believe though that we're negotiating for EZE?
Savva, I agree. We are looking at it, no doubt. I agree that there's something going on. However, I also think Arsenal is still there, and I think maybe another club might be. And I don't know how far. Just my gut feeling, Savva. No evidence, no substance, just my gut feeling. Just how as well. When I said last week, guys, I'm not sure we're going to get Savio on the basis that I think Man City are going to look for a little bit of payback for that Harry Kane saga. And now we're hearing today that the Savio deal might be falling apart. Pep actually wants him. Look, it's great. It's great content and it's great talking for us fans because we need something to talk about, right? We've got to talk about something. But for me, I'm sick of it all, guys. I hate transfer windows and I hate the whole speculation because I think most of it is bollocks. If EZE comes, amazing. If Savio comes, amazing. But as it stands, I believe very little until I see it. So, and that's just me. I'm just saying it as I feel. You guys go for it, and I will listen, and I won't, think any less of you because you buy into it a bit more than me. All right, how's about that?
I just want to quickly say something though. Something, just to call you out, just quickly. The last bit of what you've said there, you've used what journalists have said to back up your gut feeling about Savio. But when it's positive about a player signing, suddenly the journalists don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, which is why I said we're hearing that the deal's falling apart. It could be bullshit. We might be on the brink of something, right?
We're at the stage, though.
Savva, I'm pointing out the hypocrisy. 1 minute
I get it.
Next minute's falling apart.
Still, I get it. I get it. And 90% of what I read, I do think is absolute BS. But surely, with everything surrounding EZE, surely when you get like Romero and Ornstein and that telling us today that Levy and Steve Parish, I always forget his name, have met. Surely that would have been squashed if that wasn't true, right? Surely that would have been squashed by somebody if that wasn't true.
Savva, again, they make a career. The longer this story goes on, the more traction they gain. This is how they make their careers, in my view. So
that's how I make my career as well. I'm more than happy. I'm feeding off
it. We're here.
There you go. There you go. An admission of the situation. We might well be here. We might well be on the brink of signing EZE. We might wake up tomorrow and hear that bomber. But I've been hearing.
So if we do, you can admit though that the people that said it about today were right.
As long as they admit the other 99% of things they said were wrong, yes, then yeah. But don't you notice though, people like, for example, a Romero, he was 20 stories, one lands. You see, I told you. But can we talk about the other 19 though, please? Can we talk about that?
Can I just stick it up a little bit?
Use that same logic for Ange Postecoglou's commentary about, I told him. Second season, I told him. What about the other things he said? He said that we were going to win a title. What happened to that one? He said we're
talking about transfers and journalists. Why? How have you taken
for the title?
How have you gone to Ange Postecoglou?
Hang on, everybody in football is a salesman, and most salesmen are absolute shameless frauds most of the time.
That was such a cheap move by Sean. How can I find one?
Forget Ange, Stel. Forget Ange. Forget Ange. Hang on.
He said something about journalists.
The thing is, with people.
What was that?
With people like Ornstein and Romero, and if we look at the ones that are considered to be the best, like in terms of Ornstein, Romero, Plettenberg, for example, I think what you've got to remember as well is transfers are moving puzzles. So what they might know today, saying this deal is close, they don't control what goes on in the boardroom. So if it then falls apart 2 days later and people go, Romano didn't know anything, it doesn't necessarily mean he didn't. It meant that the information he had at the time might have been right, but then the deal fell away.
Savva, I guarantee you could be one of these accounts and say,
No,
guys, I've heard
sure,
the deal is close. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. And it becomes a conversation.
But
also the thing is here, there are the commentators. I'm not going to go into exactly what I know, but I having been someone that's close to what's going on and with one particular story, reading and listening to the commentary going through, some of it is absolutely miles off, okay, and some of it is a genuine commentary about the state of play and what's happening. You know, Spurs not being interested, Arsenal being interested, deal moving maybe closer to Arsenal, moving away from Arsenal, different situation happening, the fact that we didn't get Morgan Gibbs-White, the fact that James Maddison got injured. These are all incidences that can swing and accelerate a transfer deal to happen or maybe not happen. So they're giving a commentary. But I would agree with you that there are many out there, especially on X, who talk absolute crap, and I'm not going to name them all, but some of them are just shameful, right?
Name some of them, then.
But there are some on here who are pretty good, and Ornstein's one of them, and
Johnny
Romano is one of them, and I can just say on a couple of deals that I know about that they've tracked it as it's chopped and changed, and they're running a commentary on it, and that's what they do.
Johnny, they all said Romero's off to Atletico. It's done. He's over. He's just signing new record-breaking deal.
They didn't
actually say that. They didn't say that.
They did not. I stipulated right from the start that he was going nowhere.
Not you, Johnny. I never said you.
No,
right?
I said but he was quoted.
Them saying Atletico have got an interest isn't the same as them saying Romero's 100% leaving, is it?
But the way it was spun and the way they kept going on about it was like, that's it. Romero's off. They want him. We're not going to be able to keep him. Romero doesn't want to be here. That's the constant thing they kept putting out there. How wrong were all of they?
Yeah, but if you're a buyer for the story, right? What I'm saying is I was never a buyer from the story. First of all, it was supposedly quoted from an Argentina newspaper whilst he was out in Argentina, right? It wasn't wildly reported by everyone that he's leaving and he wants out at all. Oh, and what about the other report that if Ange leaves, Cootie's leaving? I've never seen the geezer so fucking happy in my life since he's been at Spurs. It's the happiest I've ever seen.
No, when can we talk about that? When can we talk about the reality that I thought there was going to be a mass exodus of players?
We've got that in the next section.
How wrong were they about that as well?
Hang on, let's not go there. Let me keep this on track. Let me keep this on track. We'll get there, guys. We'll get there.
I've said my bit, Savva, right? That's my bit. That's my answer.
Listen, fair enough. Stel doesn't believe any of it.
Not any of it. I just think there's a lot of...
Okay, Lubo, let me ask you, what do you make of this? Levy and Parish sitting down together to thrash out the final bits of the deal, and a lot of the reports are saying that a deal is done, but that we're waiting for Palace to announce El Canouse. Once they do, we will have our guy. Where are you at with it?
I think we'll get EZE. I think that after the interviews that our chairman has done, he's got no choice but to get that through, or he will be in the mud. Because you can't come out and say there's things that he's come out with unless he's going to come in and back. And I genuinely feel that, and going back to the 24, 48 hours when Kudus joined, then we thought MGW was joining, plus you had Sakai 2 or 3 days earlier, you would have had 120 million spent over 3 days, and that's something that has never happened with our club. So for me, things are changing. I think we're buying players now that are not limited with wages. I think, to me, just looking from the outside, I think, we're buying players that are going to want big wages, but they are top players now. So I just feel the whole thing's changed at Spurs this summer. You know, and you know, you're looking at Spurs. They're going for Savio. They're going for EZE. They were going for Hincapi. They are showing ambition. This is the first time for many, many years that they're actually showing ambition. You know, before
who's leading that ambition? Is that your chairman, Luba?
Oh,
Is that your
God, here
chairman?
we go.
What,
Oh,
my
God.
chairman.
Your chairman.
Excuse me, Sean. I don't want you knocking my chairman. Okay, I've listened to you for months. I'm not having it, mate.
Yeah.
There just generally seems to be a different air about the way they're doing things.
Wait, put that back up. I didn't see that. What was that one? Is that an AI Luvo?
That's a terrible AI.
AI
That is
Luvo. That's
shocking.
fantastic.
If you're gonna do an AI, it's got to be better than that. Come on, guys.
Superb.
Percy,
Okay.
what are we doing here?
Sean,
Ben?
let me bring you in. There can't be this much smoke without fire. And Sean, for anyone who watched the Chelsea Palace game yesterday, Richy EZE came out onto the pitch when all the other players had gone in and did almost a lap of honor in front of the Palace fans by himself. These are not the actions of a man that is not leaving a football club, are they?
I think they're the actions of a man who expects to lead the football club. But I think that, you know, Parish, you know, 24 hours ago, I was supremely confident that Savio was the more likely to be done more quickly, because he seems to have like come out and basically said as much. And the story with regards what was happening with Man City, and Pep Guardiola was asked about Rico Lewis, and the answer from Pep was like, you know, Rico Lewis has been asked and he wants to stay, therefore he stays. And basically, we have I'm paraphrasing here, but we've always had this philosophy: you've got to buy into the team's, you know, the team's sort of energy, and if you're not willing to accept what I can't promise you, which is guaranteed minutes, then it's okay for you to leave. That seemed to be the case for every player that's wanted to leave, apart from maybe now, if the story's true, that Pep Guardiola is cop blocking his move to Tottenham. I think that there's some truth to the fact that there might be some best served, like, you know, revenge is a dish best served cold. With regards EZE, I think it's going to happen. I'd be very disappointed if it doesn't, and surprised at this stage. However, Parish is a nightmare to work with, and yeah, Daniel Levy's not exactly a charmer in the negotiating room. So, you know, there's every chance that something could happen. But I think also maybe it depends on these domino effects. Like, you have, before you can bring someone in, you have to find a replacement. They haven't necessarily progressed yet with Harvey Elliott or El Canoes, or the guy Solis, I think his name is, at Bruges. You know, any one of those things could be the kind of the upsetter of the situation, right? And so, what's that, Luba?
You think any of those could be a deal breaker? I was reading today, El Canoes.
If they make their move for one of them,
with Leicester.
Yeah, El Canoes, yeah. But if someone else comes in and bids £5 million more tonight, and they gazump that, like a Forest or whoever it might be, a Brentford, for example, then if Leicester accept that bid and he ends up going there, then Tottenham get like told, sorry, you can't have EZE yet. We still haven't found our replacement. So you just don't know, right? Until it's done, it's not done.
Sure.
I obviously lean into the notion. I do think it's done. And I do think all of the signs and the symptoms and the signals are suggesting that we're close. But stranger things can happen. You know, it's 24 hours is a hell of a long time in football.
What I suggest is we lock all the windows should we get him into the Hotspur way. All windows should be locked. All doors should be manned. Security should be tightened. And once in the building, he's not allowed to leave. And we call him Marinakis to make sure that the deal is secured, or he loses a finger. Look, I remember when Pep just quickly changing it. I remember when Pep said that Alvarez was never leaving Man City, but he left rather surprisingly for 80 million to Atletico Madrid. And, you know, he was, I thought he was going to be the next Aguero for them. So sometimes things happen. I personally believe that the EZE deal will happen. There are still obstacles, but I do believe it will happen. I've always believed it will happen. as I said to Savva and to Sean. But I think it's a game changer for us. I think if you look at our last 2 or 3 games, just our last 2 games, I think if you put EZE into that team, I think not only would have won by more goals against Burnley, I think we would have definitely beaten PSG. I think
who's the more important signing, Johnny? Savio or EZE?
Both.
Well, they both are, but I think EZE offers us the ability to play off that left-hand side as well. Should we not manage to pull off a left winger, it's not ideal, but he can for sure play off that left-hand side.
Versatilities, he's the answer, yeah?
Yeah. Listen, I know he can play off that left-hand side because he's done it many, many times where he's played off that left side and drifted into that 10 position. So it's not.
So let me ask you this then. If Savio does drop, if Savio does get pulled because Pep Guardiola just wants to ruin Daniel Levy's day, would you rather Tottenham go and keep the EZE deal going and then go and get a Malik Fofana, go and get someone like that, an Ademola Lookman, who that the Inter deal's off, by the way, apparently, according to the ITKs that Stel doesn't trust anymore or never did. If you believe any of those things, then the Inter story is dead. Would you rather see us go and get another winger, an out-and-out winger, or would you say let's go and get another 10 that can also be versatile, like an Olmo, like a Pedro Gonçalves that can play a bit across the front 3 in any of those positions, or would you rather go and get a specific 7 that can do what Sonny did or do what Kudos is doing, but on the left-hand side?
Well, look, for a start, it looks like Atalanta believe that Lookman is definitely leaving because they've made strong moves for Muniz from Fulham for around about 45 million euros. So one would suggest that Lookman's on the way, whether or not, the Inter deal's gone down or go to Arsenal, but he looks like he's going to be floating around. But I think there's a deal, or someone has said that the deal might have been cancelled with Inter, but he could well be on the way to his premiership at the Premier League because I think he's good enough to play there. For me, I still like to see a left-sided player because I actually think we would be absolutely terrifying to have Kudos on one side, Savini on the other, and EZE drifting through in the middle. And whatever you want to say about Richy, the hustle and bustle will be creating space and taking defenders with him and allowing someone like EZE or Savini or Kudos to drift into that open space and cause havoc. And we saw yesterday, I know I mentioned it here, the amount of trouble that United caused Arsenal yesterday with that attack. I think our attack will be even more deadly, even more dangerous. We will be a handful for everyone. I just think that if we do end up having to push EZE out wide to the left, and we have to push a Papa Sarr or a Bergvall into a further forward midfield, we might not be as effective, but we will be effective. Then, for me, you'd have to go and buy another striker,
Yeah.
Issa or someone else. But I definitely think we need a left-sided player. For me, for this window to be the window of all windows, it needs to be EZE, a top left-sided player, and a left-sided centre-back. It doesn't look like Eric 10 months is going to allow Hincapié to leave by Leverkusen because they've lost far too many players.
Got a release clause, though, hasn't he?
He has 60 million. So, I mean, listen, if Spurs dropped the 60 million on Hincapié and EZE, and they dropped what's the name, I'd have to go and have a lie down. But I did say that they were going to spend like never before. We mentioned it back in March, Sean, you and I, and I'm sticking to my guns.
Yeah.
Can I just say, Johnny, the thing that I find quite interesting is today on the Savio piece, I do find it funny that people think this notion that Pep's trying to get one over on Spurs because of the Kane thing. I don't quite understand how that makes sense in any real world. What I think we've got to realise is Pep Guardiola, when asked, isn't going to come out and go, yeah, I want to get rid of Savio. Like that doesn't serve anyone any good, does it? For a manager
He's not
to come out.
Ruben Amorim. He's not
Right,
Ruben Amorim, is he?
Yeah, he's not going to do that. I think what fans have got to realise is there's a difference between if a manager wants to keep a player versus whether a deal can actually get done. So just because Spurs want a player doesn't mean that the deal can necessarily happen. What we do know as well, read between the lines of what Pep says. I've got a big squad. I need to sell people. I don't want to keep people here that aren't 100% happy to be here. I think this is very much going to be, if the player wants to come and Spurs want to pay what it's going to take, which I think is going to be 70 million quid, give or take, the player's going to have to put in a transfer request and Spurs are going to have to cough up the money. If both of those things can happen, brilliant. And I think you're absolutely right, Johnny. I think will be frightening. That three behind the striker of Eze, Kudus and Savio, teams are not going to want to play against that. When people say, what do we need more? Even if Savio doesn't come, we have to buy a left-sided winger. We've got to. You can't go into the season with Tel, Odegaard or Johnson as your left-sided player. It's such a drop-off. If you've got Eze and Kudus, one of those playing as the third, it is such a drop-off that what will happen, Johnny, in my opinion, is nothing will end up going down that left. Everything will end up going down this right. And to Sean's point earlier, the blueprint will be made of, right, if you can stop the ball getting out to Kudus, Tottenham are going to be completely less effective than they would be. So I don't think this is an either or moment. For me, go big. Get your play. Get Eze. Whether it's Savio or not, you've got other players. Malik Fofana. You've got Zagrova. You've got I don't know, a Matoma. You've got Savio. You've got, there are Lookman. There are options. And that's what I want to see, guys. Sorry for the rant.
Can I just
say, if Savio doesn't come in, that's fine. He's not the only player in the world. But I want to see, right, how do Spurs, to use a Sean Butler word, how do Spurs pivot from, right, Savio can't happen to here's two or three more that we want to talk to and get it done. What I don't want to see is, well, we did speak to those two or three, but it was the last week of the window and it was too late. That's what I don't want to see.
If you've got £70 million to drop on Savio right now and Manchester City say that's not enough and Tottenham are willing to take a punt on a 21-year-old who's good but not done it yet, but looks very good, I'm pretty sure there's a club in Italy who we have a very close connection with through our certain Fabio Paratici, who is broke, who would absolutely love to get 70 million quid. And I don't know whether they'd be up for it, but there's a little player over there that I would actually argue is probably a little bit more interesting to me than Savio in Yildiz. I think he's absolutely insane, that guy. And he might be 70 million quid's worth, but he's only 20 years old and he's the next big thing coming out of Italy. Or you could go
they need the money. And they need the money.
They need the money, right? Or you could go and get Rafael Leao as well. AC Milan, they need the money as well. Loads of teams need money.
Sean, there's loads of left-sided players. This is the key thing.
Loads and loads and loads.
I want us to get out the mindset as a fan base, and I'm probably fighting lots of people going, Savio, the deal won't happen. Cool. Okay, Spurs, what next? Yes, that deal might not happen. Listen, I love Savio. I want Savio. I'm not going to lie. But I'm not going to turn my nose up at Yildiz. I'm not going to turn my nose up at Lookman. I just want to see that Spurs give Frank a fighting chance. And I do think the drop-off to those other left-sided players is frightening.
Absolutely.
That's my worry.
Look at yesterday. Oh, sorry, on Saturday. I mean, I was sat there with Sean, and while he was gossiping around there, I kept pointing out, look how powerful they were. Look at this left-hand side. It's almost non-existent. I feel so sorry for Jed Spence, because Jed Spence was trying to make it happen, and Johnson just couldn't read anything. Yeah, it was a beautiful run. It was that run in the second for the goal, lovely, terrific. The finish, terrific. But I'm sorry, football's about 90 minutes, and I kept shouting when he got hold of the ball, go past your man, take your man on. So what if you get brought down? No, check back. Same as what he played with Ange. It's not good enough. I'm sorry. I've got nothing against him. I hope he comes on as a sub, scores a few goals, but he cannot be starting. I think the fact that against PSG, he didn't even start the game says it all. We need that left-sided player. I do, however, believe that should it come in an emergency and we can't get one, that Eze can play on that left side and drift in if we play like a Bergvall or Papasar in the forward position, but it's not ideal, and it's not what you want to be doing.
Doesn't that defeat the point of bringing in Eze, though, that you've gone hell for leather to replace Maddison because of his injury, and then that player that comes in gets shifted out wide to the left-hand side? If
we're still very good,
club, we do both. If we're a proper club, we will do both, right? That's my standard. I'm not dropping them. I'm not.
I mean, when you say proper club, we've already spent good money. If we bring in Eze, we've already spent top money. And there obviously is the money available, because otherwise we wouldn't be bidding for Savino. But I just think that I'm genuinely excited about this season. I was genuinely excited when I actually saw that Thomas Frank was coming to this club. As I said before, I've followed him for a number of years. I know tactically what he brings. I know what he brings to player improvement. And I hear what Stel's saying. He's been brought in to improve players, and he will do. But whilst he's improving those players that aren't good enough to play right now, we need those players on that pitch who are oven ready and ready to perform for this club now. And those players are brought through slowly over the next year. So that is bringing in that left-sided player, bringing in that 10, which is Eze, and hopefully bringing in a left-sided centre-back. The only player we've not mentioned who we throw into that, we've talked about the midfield, we talked about the attack, we haven't talked about Paulinho. Put a fit Paulinho in there on top of those like the Eze and giving them the freedom, and the rest, frightening. So exciting. They haven't even signed yet, and I'm excited.
I completely agree. Look, before we move on to the last segment, is there anything else anyone wants to say? I know it's very much, we're all waiting for that bomber, which seems to be the word of 2025. We're all waiting for it to drop.
Pivot was the word.
Pivot and bomber. A bomber pivot.
Yeah.
Savva, there you go. We just created a shot.
I want to clarify on something you said about Pep and City not playing hardball with us because of this Kane saga. Just to clarify, what I'm getting at when I say that, and I think that's exactly what's happening, is that if we value him at 60 million and City value him at 70, City are going to try and get 75 out of it. So what I'm saying is City are looking at us thinking, do you know what? Let's squeeze the absolute living juice out of this because it's them. And it's making it harder for us. That's what I meant by that.
Could it just be that Pep Guardiola genuinely rates the player and doesn't want to lose him?
Yeah, but there's £70 million. You got to think, right? Do you honestly think
Have
Savio
we offered that though?
Well, if let's just
no
let's
idea
say
what we've offered, what we've been rejected.
We do, right? Just for argument's sake, it's somewhat like 70 million euros is the latest number or whatever, right? Do you think that Savio comes to Tottenham and spends 6 years at Tottenham, or do you think he comes to Tottenham, tries his best to smash it out of the park, gets to the World Cup, has a good World Cup, raises his platform, and then within the next year he wants to move on again? The problem is, I don't think he's got any connection or love for Tottenham, right? He just wants to use it for a platform to make to get his his profile up, and then if Real Madrid come calling or whoever else in Spain in 24 months' time, he'll go, I want to go, and then the problem is, let me just finish my quick point. And then the problem is that if you paid £75 million for a player like that, £70 million because you needed to get it done because that was the one that Thomas Frank wanted and Daniel Levy wanted to appease the fan or whatever. Problem is that you've got there's very little juice left in the squeeze. There's very little. You have to at some point you have to think about, is there going to be any chance where Daniel Levy's going to accept anything like 75 million or less? The answer is no in a couple of years' time, especially if he's raised his level. So is Real Madrid or someone going to pay 100 million quid, 120 million quid in 2 years' time? Unless the transfer market continues to this bonkers level, it's going to be difficult to get your money back. And then you're going to have an unhappy player, which we almost had with Romero, until today we find out he's
we're always worrying about this rather than actually doing what's right for the club at the time. Like,
I'm not saying we should worry about it. I'm just saying that will be part of the
I'm not worried about it 2 years down the line. let's be fair. If Real Madrid want him in 2 years' time, it means he's done a bloody good job for 2 years at Tottenham Hotspur.
I'm not saying that we should worry about it. I'm just saying that will be part of the conversation around the value proposition.
But then you've got an academy boy coming in. Hopefully, who'll be ready. That will slot straight in Mikey Moore.
I thought you were about to say Archie Gray.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Mikey Moore shouldn't even be in any conversation in that at all.
We're talking 24 months, Sav. We're talking 24 months.
Sure, but I mean, I don't want to talk about 17-year-olds who I've seen do the square root of nothing, being as potential successors to people that we're talking about signing for Real Madrid.
First game assist.
Huh?
First game assist for Rangers.
I've got no doubt. Have you seen the standard of the Scottish League? I'm
not saying that. But you still got to do
any way,
it.
shape, or form.
Alfie Devine scored a good goal as well this weekend, by the way. Really,
very good goal. Preston North End, lovely goal.
Yeah.
Look, we'll see. I'll tell you what, and this is the beauty of football, right? Is none of us actually know what have we offered. You know, have we offered 50 million? Did we offer 60 million? Have we offered 7? None of us know. So when we're saying Pep's getting us back and Pep this and Pep that, at the end of the day, Pep's always done the same at Man City, at Bayern Munich, at Barcelona. If a player wants to leave, he lets them leave. He's always been the same, but they always want the price that they want. And I get that. That's what we do, right? Isn't that what we've done this summer with Romero?
Savva, do you know, where I think there's a little difference here is that when he didn't get Kane and then he did a press interview a little while after, I think it was a week or two, he was pissed. He was proper pissed. He goes, fine, stay there. You had a chance to come here, you know, stay there. Let's see what you win kind of thing. He really took a swipe. And I think that sat with him.
I don't believe this. Sorry, mate. I don't believe this. This is the world of profession. We're talking about 65, 70 million quid's worth of business. I don't think Pep Guardiola.
I don't think Spurs want to pay that though, Savva. I don't think Spurs value him at 70 million.
Well, if we don't deserve the player, right? If we don't want to pay what they value the player at, then that's
but
I
think they're partly valuing him higher because it's us. I think they're whacking some extra numbers on that because it's us. They know he's not 70 million because if he was, another club would have come in and said, "There's your 70 million. We'll take him then." But no one else has come in, as far as we know.
Yeah, because you know he's not for. But the thing is, I think we're getting lost in translation here. Spurs want the player. The player's not been transfer listed. Right? No one has ever come out and said Savio desperately wants to leave. What's happened is we've inquired, right? This is what we've been told by everyone. We've inquired as to see, would he make the move? Yeah, he would. There's a difference between someone being available. Like Mbeumo was available.
But a few weeks ago, you said that he would be available because they've got, you said, look at all the other wingers they've got.
Yeah, but no, you're not listening to me. There's a difference
Man City
between
moving for Rodrigo. There's been a retweet. There's been a repost from Fabrizio. Quickly, sorry, it's in Spanish.
Let's bring that up. Still, you're going to enjoy this. Let's bring that up. Hang on 1 sec.
You guys can debate. You guys can debate.
It's a video from yesterday, but it's in Spanish. But he's reposted it just now, and it's in Spanish, but or Italian or something. But the quotes are making out about it's Rodrigo that Manchester City asked very much. Yeah. They're very much in for Rodrigo. So does that put your ITK in the mud, bro? Or what are we doing here?
Let's wait and see. Let's see what the agent thinks.
I said it is still going. I said it earlier. I said it to Lubo. I said, look, at the end of the day, guys, right? Spurs are making moves. Okay. I understand the doubt about everything because historically Spurs have talked a good game and delivered nothing. So I understand the skepticism. It's fully valid, the skepticism, but things are different. Things have changed. I'd said at the end of March, things are changing, times are changing, and I ain't changing now. Anyone can jump on the bandwagon now, but I've been repeating the same thing till I'm blue in the face. I believe 100% we're going to get EZE. It ain't going to be easy, but we will do it. And we will try for the left-sided player. Again, won't be easy. But don't believe everything you get told, right? Not everything.
Johnny, hasn't his agent gone over to the UK? Hasn't his agent?
Yeah, his agent's in London. His agent's in
London. His agent's been in London already. His agent
arrived on Saturday.
He was there Friday, mate.
Lubo's in London.
Yeah.
Lubo's here.
Look,
It's Lubo. Can you imagine if this time next year, still Lubo is the new Romano? Everyone's going like Lubo. We'll give him his own.
Where's he getting all his info from? That's what I want to know.
I thought he got it from you, Johnny. If I'm completely honest, I thought he got it from you and just regurgitated it to people like me.
I'm saying nothing.
Whenever he tells me something,
but they're not speaking from the same hymn sheet. Lubo's saying Savino's off. Johnny's saying it's on. They can't be saying this. They can't be having the same source. It's like one of them's ketchup and one of them.
And I'm saying they're both liars.
There we go. Yeah. So Fabrizio Romano has said Man City still want to attempt the signing of Rodrigo. If Savio leaves, Guardiola will go for the Brazilian.
Guys, can I ask a quick question, right? Savva, can I ask a question here? Am I stupid or something? Why is Rodrigo leaving Real Madrid? Wouldn't you want to stay there?
Well, I'll tell you why.
He wants to be the main man.
He wants to be the main man. Sorry, Stel. Sorry, Sean. Go on, you go.
Super quick. It's very easy. It's Vinicius Junior and Mbappe are squabbling for the left wing spot, and Rodrigo wants to play on the left hand side. Yeah,
we speak about it a lot, Stel.
Where do we speak about it?
God forbid we speak about Football Inc.
I mean, normally when players leave Real Madrid, they begin to have a little bit of a decline. I mean, he's still mustard.
Yeah, but the thing is,
I've heard of it.
Player ego, isn't it? Like, let's be fair. Look, at the end of the day, we'll see, right? At the end of the day, if Spurs want Savio enough, we'll pay. Yeah, and if he wants Spurs enough and we're willing to pay, he'll hand in a transfer request. You've got to remember, Man City, again, this is a good point, still, what you said just there about what I said last week. That was a backhanded compliment to me, by the way. They have got, when you look at Savio this year, in a World Cup year, they have got Bob, Cherky, Doku, Marmoush, Foden. I'm missing some. There's 7 of them that we got earlier. There's like 7 players that can all play out wide and in those attacking areas. At what stage do you say I want to be the main man?
Let me ask you this though. Let's make it more. If we do get Savio, does Stel or Odebear have exactly that same conversation? Because they're all 3 of them are 21 years old or around that. They all 3 want to fight for the same spot. You've even got Johnson that's getting shoehorned onto the left to give himself minutes right now. There might be a scenario, by the way, where if Richarlison's back and Solanke's back fit, maybe that Richarlison often plays off the left-hand side as well. I guess my roundabout point is: does Stel or Odebear need to go out on loan in order to guarantee themselves minutes?
Yeah, sure. I'm here for it. I think one of them should be on loan.
Did I say?
I don't know how all these players. I don't know how the Greys, the Odebirds, the Tells. I don't know how they all develop. When realistically they're not going to be getting enough 90 minutes.
What about Kulu when he comes back?
Well, Kulu, you got Kulu's minutes as well. Yeah, it's a good point, Sean. It's a really good point.
He didn't make it.
What do you mean?
Oh, Kulu, I said.
No, I'm just saying. No, like if you've got Tell, if you've got Odebear, You've got players there that they can't all get game time. So there is going to be a few that you're going to have to keep some because you need squad. And you're going to have to, others will be knocking on that door, right? Saying, well, hang on, I'm not going to get game time unless you keep Odebear and say, right, Odebear, you're our right-sided forward for when Kudus is out, and Tell you're our left-sided forward for when Savio is out, for example. I don't know.
So do we sell Johnson? Would you, if we had a big bid in for Brennan Johnson?
Yep.
I'm asking, would you sell him?
Yep.
Yeah.
I would. Would you sell him and use that money for another monster player?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're in agreement. I thought it'd be controversial.
What I'm interested in is how is it that there was not a single. Do you reckon that like anybody picked up the phone? I know we haven't seen anything about it, so it's kind of the answer is probably going to be no. But do you reckon any football clubs have picked up the phone this summer and said to Tottenham, "Hey, what's your stance with Brennan Johnson?"
Probably not.
Even though he got 23 GA last season.
I think his mum might have rung up pretending to be someone.
Hello. Sean, I think on this one. with Brennan Johnson, such a specific type of footballer that you're going to need a very specific team way of playing to fit him in. So if you've got if you've got a manager out there that's saying, right, I need a right winger that does X, Y, and Z. I need a left winger that does X, Y, and Z. He's not your guy. If you've got somebody out there going, I need a player that doesn't do anything else in a game other than pop up in the box every now and then and score a goal, sure, but that's a real luxury that I don't know.
No, he fits a counter-attacking team as an inside forward on the break, right? He fits the way that Nottingham Forest used to play. He could fit at Fulham. I think he could fit at Fulham, personally.
But Fulham don't play a counter-attacking style.
No, they don't. But I'm saying, but they do play. They do play attack. They do play very fast, wide, width-based, transitional football. So I won't say counter-attacking, but in the transition they break quick. And I think I think that they're sort of team that other teams would push up against, and so they'll be in space behind. So I think he could benefit from a team like Fulham, personally.
The other thing also is that Frank has said he doesn't want any more strikers. That's maybe because Harry's back next summer.
Oh,
Don't.
Oh, not this again.
Come on.
Wait and see.
Guys, look, I don't like Brennan Johnson as a footballer. I've never liked him. I've never been wowed by him. I've never been impressed by him. But listen, for me, and it hurts. It hurts to say it, but I always say it as I see it, and I'm not going to change now. If he keeps scoring goals, I don't think we should get rid of him, because scoring goals is the hardest thing in football. And if we've got a player that consistently does it, we'll be mad to get rid of him. I get he offers us nothing. I agree. He winds me up. Watching him on Saturday was painful. He was shit. But that one through ball, he makes the right run and he gets it in the back of the net. And you're saying, do you know what? We need players that can do that. That's the difference. Putting the ball in the back of the net, and he does it. He was our top goal scorer last year, and after game one, he's our second top goal scorer. One game, all right.
I'd have him as a super sub, Stel. I would. Do you know what will happen?
Maybe.
Stel, Lubo and I talked about this earlier, right?
He scores goals.
Of that, there is no doubt. Lubo and I talked about this earlier.
It's such a good quality to have.
Lubo and I talked about this earlier, right? We said the problem is with some of these players that get glazed a little bit when they're average footballers, is we only realise how average they are once you bring in quality above them. So, for example, you brought in Kudus and immediately you're going, God, look how good he is compared to the rest. Once we get EZE, Savio, for example, no one's going to talk about should Brennan Johnson be starting. That's the difference, right? We talk about it now because we've not got a lot of quality and a lot of goals. When you get those quality players in front of him, I don't think a lot of people are going to be clambering for Brennan Johnson to be in the 11, but I do think he can make a really good contribution off the bench and as a rotational player. I don't know if that's harsh, but
I think that's fair. That's fair. Rotational player.
Leeds have just gone 1-0 up, by the way, in the 82nd minute at home to Everton. Just so you know.
We like Leeds.
Penalty kick. By the way, guys, should we leave that section there? We got one more section for the last 20 minutes. Is that okay with everyone?
Yeah.
We've been sectioned.
Yeah. Huh?
We've been sectioned.
We've been sectioned. We definitely have been
That's
sectioned.
a lovely penalty for Leeds on their Premier League comeback debut at home. That is an absolute delicious penalty there from that Lamaker guy, whatever his name is, Ledecha.
Yeah, Nemecha.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, and I think Pickford went the right way, but you don't get those. Let's Romano, by the way.
One other thing, just on transfers, a few comments about Kane in the comments. Arsenal got Gakouras, Liverpool Ekitike, City got Haaland, Chelsea got Pedro, United got Sesko. Kane's coming back to the Premiership to break the record. Tell me where else he's going to go. Come on.
Right, is that your ITK or is that just Lubo?
I reckon he'll be back next season.
Right, 1 second.
I don't disagree with you. I think it might happen as well, to be honest.
52 million release calls. Not outrageous, is it?
1 hour, 38 minutes, Lubo clip. Right, receipt. That's going on the channel, and that's the receipt for next season done.
So
okay.
You think Levy's going to pay £52 million for a 33-year-old?
He's struggling to play 55 million for a 27-year-old.
How's about we give them 40 million and tell?
How about we just give them tell? How about
Yeah.
Just take them anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in the chat, let us know right now while I read out some super chats. Just a simple yes or no.
no?
Will Kane be back at Spurs next summer? Yes or no? Lubo has been banging on about it. Listen, if Levy drops £52 million on a 33-year-old with no sell-on value, I will be staggered. I'll be staggered. Fair enough. Let's do some super chats. Big up to Mark. Thank you very much. Very, very generous indeed. Thank you for the super sticker, my man. We really do appreciate that. Just before I read out the next four, come on, guys, let's set a target of at least 1,000 likes. There's 1,700 of you in here and less than 700 likes. That's 1,000 of you that have not hit the like button. 1,000. Surely we can get 350 more of you to get that to 1,000. Come on, I'm not asking for 1,700 likes, just 1,000 would be amazing. Big up to you, Mark. Thank you very much for that. Big up to Daniel Hewson with a super sticker as well. Really appreciate you, mate. He's on board the super sticker train as well. So big up to you, my man. NSG has said tracking Eze's private plane flying to London at the moment. From London to London. I mean, it's an expensive plane journey for about 2 minutes, but big up to you, my man. Thanks, Ennis. Really appreciate you. Big up to the man with the best name on YouTube, Krista Scorpion Nyland. Great name. Said, Noosa, if Savio don't join Vlahovic next summer. I mean, Noosa's a player that we were linked with right this time last year, if I'm not wrong. Last summer we were well in for Noosa, but it didn't happen in the end. And Vlahovic, I mean, Vlahovic is a player that just, I think, might leave in the last 2 weeks. I don't know where he'll go, but we'll see. He's on a hell of a lot of money. Big up to you, Krista. And big up to Blaine. Very generous as always, my man. Thanks, Blaine. Said, in my opinion, we get Savio in the final week. His agent is still in the UK and we are focused on Eze getting done. I just don't want it to be 5 p.m. on the 31st. Still unsure. Then no pivot. Big up, lads. Blaine, that's exactly where I am. What I don't want is that we get to the last 2 days of the window and go, oh, we tried to get a left winger. You've had all summer. Get it done. That's where I won't have any excuses. You've had all summer to get it done. Big up to you, Blaine. Really appreciate that. Guys, who wants to start on this one? Christian Romero signed a new contract. Jed Spence signed a new contract.
Yeah.
Many people said that there'd be a mass exodus and the players would be really unhappy at the outgoing manager. They wouldn't want to play. Thomas Frank's got no pull. What's going on, Lubo? It seems to me that
hold on a second, Savva. Can you also say how a lot of people said he's not good enough, he shouldn't be at this club? Get him out as well, please.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that was said.
Absolutely massive.
And they were spot on.
Massive. Getting Romero tied to a new contract is absolutely brilliant. He is one of the best defenders around, and you saw how good he was. No, I'm sorry. All players have bad games, but when it counts, when it comes to the crunch, Romero's always there. I've had enough people turn around on this show, on other shows, turn around and say, oh, you know, where was Kane in big games? Where's Romero in big games? Right in the thick of it. This is a massive coup for Spurs, let me tell you.
It's an £80 million signing. That's exactly what it is. Because if you were to sign a player of his ilk now, which we probably couldn't do, that's what it is. It's an £80 million signing.
You think we couldn't get better than Romero for £80 million?
I'm just saying no, I didn't say that. I said he's an £80 million side player. And if he was at another club, I don't think he would be entertaining us. We're lucky to have him, is my thought.
Thank you. Definitely.
And my chairman got it done.
Yeah. Your chairman.
Yeah.
Excuse me, our chairman, do you mind? Our chairman.
I get told all week, no more Levy chat. Don't mention Levy. Don't you start a Levy chat. And all night tonight, Sean has been dropping my chairman, my Levy, right?
I haven't said anything else, though. It's just 2 word interludes. That's all I'm saying. My chairman, and then I'll let you carry on.
It opens the door, though, right? It opens the door for me and
if you want to walk through the door, Stel, you can. All I'm saying is my chairman.
I've said
I can say my chairman in 6 languages you fancy. Mezzo chairmeno.
Chinese, please, Sean. Chinese.
Oh, me, chairman.
So, Lubo, can we agree, right?
What are we doing here? What are we doing?
Lubo, can we agree? Can we agree then that for me this season, you are absolutely right. In the massive games, Romero he steps up. But can we agree? In the first 2 years, he's been up and down, and the excuse was, oh, he had to play with Darren Davis. In the second 2 years, he's up and down, and the excuse was, it's Angie's system. Can we now agree then? He signed the new contract. He's been given the captaincy. He's a senior pro now. Can we agree that he's got a proper coach with proper defensive tactics? Can we agree that this needs to be the year where there's no up and down, and we see a consistent high level of performance for
He's
him?
got to give us
Not just against PSG or Man United, but against the Burnleys and those clubs.
Hang on. Do you know what? Can I just say
give us the big season, Johnny?
Yeah,
He really
has.
does.
But look at Canate, right? The other night, he's been absolutely exceptional. Real Madrid are desperate to sign him. He was absolutely abysmal against Bournemouth, right? And it does happen. It does happen. But when cometh the hour, cometh the man.
That's not what I asked. That's not. But again, but Johnny, you haven't listened to the question. That's not what I asked.
Right. So can I just
what I asked?
Right? Can I just say to you, under Ange Postecoglou, right? Without going into too much of what I know and what I've heard, is he constantly had issues about how Ange Postecoglou had a disrespect, should I say, for the defensive side of the football. Sure. And as a winner and a guy who hates to lose at everything, who hates to concede a goal, when you're there and you're behind a team that's conceding 63 goals, you ain't happy, right? But I do think that you've seen them in deep conversation between Kuti and Cochrane, and Kuti with Thomas Frank, constantly talking about the defensive setup at Spurs. And I think that's one of the main reasons, as well as seeing the plan of what we're investing in, is why he was willing to sign on the dotted line for 4 years. Because Frank himself has said, behind every great team is a great defense. And, there is no reason why with Mickey van der Ven and Kuti Romero, they can't be the Yang and Toby that we had before. I don't see there's any reason why they can't be that, because I think the back four are good enough to rival any of our the best defenses we've had. But it needs a proper system and a proper setup. But I still don't believe you can go from conceding 63 goals and losing 22 games and just flip a switch overnight. But I do think it'll be better, Savva.
Yeah, by the way, everyone goes mad because I don't think they understand, as my job as hosting is I need to ask some questions that have a controversial element to them. And all I'm saying is this is the year for me where we need to stop having the excuses, because we've had the excuse of 2 years who he was playing with. The second 2 years was who he was playing for. Mm-hmm. This now, for me, needs to be a season where I don't think I'm asking too much. You guys are telling me he's world class. I'm being told he's worth 80 million. So when I say I think he needs to now have a consistent season, I don't think I'm asking too much.
That's fair
enough. He needs to be
80 million pound player should be on his game most matches.
Absolutely. That's all I said. Everyone goes mad. Not you guys.
You see Romero, I've always defended him. I've always stood up for Romero. And for me, the way I look at Romero is he's not that world-class elite level defender. He's not. But that level below, that very good defender, I do believe he's there. The thing with Romero is this. When we first signed him, he was good. He was good for us. But we played a more defensive system, and he was part of us getting top four in a season where we had a dog shit squad. The wheels began to come off a bit when he got a little bit rash, a little bit wound up, and a lot of other YouTubers from other clubs, they saw it as a chance to pounce. Let's all go for Romero. And then I think a lot of Spurs fans, they see that and they got sucked in a little bit. I've always felt with Romero, there's a reason why he starts in big cup finals, whether it's Argentina, whether he was Italian Defender of the Year in Atalanta when we signed him. He's won the World Cup. He's won Copa America. He was man of the match. He got the award in Bilbao when we won the Europa Cup. I think he's a very, very good defender. And I think you've got to accept he's going to be rash in moments, because if you take that out of his game, it's a bit like Dele Alli. He loses a lot to his game. I like that he's aggressive, and I like that he does a bit of shithousery. The one thing with Romero is this. I think for all of us, and I said it last year, it's very difficult to judge Van der Ven and Romero in Ange's system, and Johnny was touching on it. Now we're playing more defensively structured football, and we've actually got a 6 who's going to sit in front of them. I think, Savva, what you're saying about he's got to be consistent this season, I think this is the season to really begin to judge Romero, because he's in a proper partnership.
I mean,
I know, but Savva, I know, but he's in a proper partnership with a proper 6, with a coach that actually structures the defense. Listen, he was good when he first came. Let's not pretend he wasn't. He was good when he first came to Spurs. It was that 2 years under Ange, a lot of it went to shit for him. So I think, I'm glad he's signed. I think it's a really good signing for Spurs to keep him.
And Jedley King, as Sean calls him.
Yeah, Jedley King, 100%.
Yeah, that's good. It's good we kept him too. Spencer's been our best player pre-season, I think.
Yeah.
No, I think Sar has. I think Sar's been our best player personally.
But he's been very good as well. But Jedley has been absolutely superb. But I just feel sorry for him, because now, you look at Kudos and Pedro Porro. They've had 2 games together, and they look like they've been playing together for ages. And then you looked on the other side with poor old Jed, with Brennan Johnson, clueless. He looked really frustrated. Yet he had a good game, Jed, but he looked frustrated. I think, I think you put him with a Savio or any quality left-sided player, and you'll be seeing those overlapping runs. It's going to be a completely different ball game. Right now, we're predictable. Stop the right-hand side, and you stop Spurs right now. That if I was playing Spurs on the weekend, that's what I'd be doing. Shut down Kudos, and you're fine, because Brenda Johnson is going to be doing nothing.
Johnny, the good thing for Spence is that unlike last year, this year, if you're the man in possession of that shirt and you're playing well, Frank will keep you in. Whereas as soon as the doggy came back, Spence was out, which was totally wrong.
He actually told him.
Our best player for 3 months.
He actually told him. Ange actually turned around and said, "Yeah, he's been really good looking after the shirt until Destiny comes back."
And that won't happen. As long as Richard
talk about Ange.
Yeah.
As long as
tell me, right? Because the way he talks, you would think that Solanke is Frank's number 1. Okay, so with the fact that he's now fit, for me, without any doubt whatsoever, I'm starting Richarlison until his form drops off or something happens. But do you think that he decides, no, I'm going to play Dom Solanke? If your number 1 is Dom Solanke and not Richarlison, do you start him regardless of Richarlison's form, or do you play the player in form? I know what I do. I play the player in form, but sometimes managers have their favourites.
Yeah,
I think there's a horses for courses argument.
I think Frank will keep him in the team. I think Rich will stay in the team while he's playing well. Spence will stay in the team. Whoever it is, if they're doing a job for him, they'll be in.
Gray won't stay in the team, though. Let's be honest. Gray, it will be Paulinho and Bentancur on the weekend.
Absolutely, and I would, I'd be amazed if it wasn't Paulinho and Bentancur on Saturday.
I saw loads of really good clips of Gray being sent to me today of his play.
He had a decent game Saturday.
It doesn't have to be necessarily all about form, though, right? You can make this choice with, like, Pape Sarr, for me, has very specific value. He's brilliant at doing certain things. He's not so good at doing other things. He stepped up in the 10 in the absence of a creative player, and he's done fairly well, or very well, I think. Done very well. But if we get EZE, he won't be playing that role. However, there's games when I don't know, for example, if you're maybe in 2 extremes, you're either chasing a game, he can be the guy that can offer you legs, that can get in against tired opposition. Or if a team is chasing the lead that you have, chasing you down, and he sits in that 8 role, he has a brilliant ability to anticipate, to understand the game, and to pick off passes. And I think that those sorts of things can be very, if you've got a good coach and a good tactician, which I think we have between Cochrane and Thomas Frank, I think that they can look at players like Decky when he's fully fit, look at players like Pape Sarr, look at other players, and I'd make the argument you could probably make the same suggestion for the 9 role, that in certain circumstances against certain teams, Richarlison is a better outlet, a better fit, and in other games it might be Dom Solanke. So I generally go with you, Johnny, that when you've got 2 players that there's not a lot of difference between in valuation in their own minds about who should be starting, who should be commanding, let form dictate. But in certain games, in certain scenarios, like I would have rather have had Richarlison against PSG than Dom Solanke, because Richarlison, I think, is a better hold-up player to a degree. He's certainly more of a threat in the air, and I think than Solanke is. But in other games, when the ball's going to be more on the floor, maybe a faster game, maybe I think Dominic Solanke might be a better option. So form should dictate, but the circumstance can also have its say on the
So if you look on the game, so it's quite interesting that throughout the whole pre-season, we've seen Pape Sarr play the forward of the midfield. He's been the most advanced. And yet against Burnley, we were expecting the same. But interestingly, it was Lucas Bergvall who played that position. And it was Pape Sarr that dropped deeper. So he is a manager that is going to change it up. He expects each of those players to understand different positions, because the tactics will change in game. And there's no point in playing them just one tactic and only understanding that. I wouldn't be surprised if they go back to 5-3-1-1 against Man City, the same system maybe that they played against PSG. It'd be interesting to see. I don't think they'll play the same system they played against Burnley. I can't see it personally. No. What do you think?
Can't see it. I think he'll play 3 at the back.
Yeah.
I think he'll try and squeeze the play and hit them on the break.
Yeah.
I think it depends if we sign. I mean, if an EZE is in.
When we sign.
Yeah.
When we sign,
but it depends if he's in on time. If he's in, then maybe we don't. I mean, I think it's always difficult because, you know, we are playing Man City. And
correct.
You know, you guys know as well as I do. And we'll talk more on Thursday's show about Man City, but you guys know as well as I do that if we lose to Man City, it will then be an immediate overreaction of, oh my God, the manager's shit, he's got to go, his tactics are shit, blah, blah, blah. If we beat them, it will be the overreaction of, oh my God, we're in for a title charge and we're not going to lose any games this season. So we all know how this pans out in the fan base, but it's a tough game. City are good. City are very good. City have bought very well. They've got goals throughout the team. It's going to be a really fascinating watch to see how he sets up.
How good was Rangers?
First time we're playing Pep Guardiola without Kane and Son.
Yeah, how good was Rangers on the weekend?
He
was class.
Yeah, what a player. And then they bring on Ryan Cherky. I mean, like, Jesus. I think this is a very, very, very...
Johnny, their defence isn't that great, though. I think the defence can be got at. Well, it's whether we get into them, though. That's going to be the tough bit. Can we get?
Wolves struggled big time. But look, I think this is, Haaland looks bang on it again, and I think he's going to get really good support from the supporting cast of Mamouche, Cherky, Reinders, and co. And Oscar Bob out for most of last season, and I agree with what Savva was saying earlier. When you look at it, I reckon they got about 6 left-sided players, and I just think that Pep is just spinning a yarn. Basically, he's doing the complete opposite of what Ruben Amorim did. Ruben Amorim just devalued 4 players at the drop of a hat, saying they're all crap, they're never playing for me again, and put them out to pasture. And now they're stuck there; they can't get rid of them. So what's he going to say? He's not stupid. Pep's too long in the tooth. He's my man. He's my man. He's not going anywhere, right? And it will take a massive bid for him to go. Meanwhile, on the quiet, they're probably over the moon and excited to get Rodrigo.
I think one thing I think one thing that's going to make Man City a good team this year, and you wait and see, this will pan out. They did one thing last year that many clubs don't have the bravery to do, and they did it. And they gave their youngsters a lot of game time. And that's how you develop youth. You give them the minutes. Do you remember when we played him in the Carabao Cup and he refused to bring on Haaland when we played them at our ground, and he kept with those kids on the pitch? It's games like that where you stick with that youth. You know you're probably going to lose it. You take that hit, but the development is what you get further down the line. This year, you're going to see a lot of those kids that have been given a chance last year now begin to show a bit more. And that's something I've been begging Spurs to do for years. And Pep did that last year. And I think
Nico O'Reilly, he's the one.
Just quickly,
Savva,
Ben Jacobs
but they
Ben
took
Jacobs and it's not happening. Sorry. Ben Jacobs and Alex Crook have just said on TalkSport it's not happening. Savio deals is off as well. It's closed the door, apparently. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Rate
Ben Jacobs, by the way.
I don't rate any of them. Even Alex Crook, he's another one. But the thing is, and this is what I've always said about youth. You've got to take short-term hits and losses to develop the youth in a squad of adults, and then further down the line, that's when you see the reward. And we just don't want to do that at Spurs, which is it's unfortunate. And I think that's going to help City this year. They will have at least one or two kids that are going to shine this year.
They've only got one. But you say that, Stel. They've only one of those that you're talking about is in the squad this season.
And you know what? That's all they might need. Just that one. Don't forget when Arteta was going through that shit patch and he embedded the youngsters. They had Willock. What's his name? Smith Rowe, Maitland Miles. The only one that made it was Saka. But that's it, though. You put in 3 or 4. You need one to land, and you won't know which one will land unless you give them all a bit of a go. We don't do that at all. We don't do anything like that. Anyway, look, I don't think ours are good.
I'll be honest. I don't think any of ours are.
We will never know that. And you know what, Savva? You might be right, but we'll never know because we don't give them that chance the way other clubs around us do.
It's easy for when a club like Man City who are fighting for titles and stuff, dropping a couple of kids because they're surrounded by world-class footballers. It's a little bit easier than Spurs who are trying to build something and trying to put a good 11 together at least to then turn around and go, okay, well, actually, 2 or 3 of those will be young kids. They've got to be really, really top young kids to be able to do that, haven't they?
I think there's one kid in that crop that is good enough, but we're just not going to see it at Spurs, unfortunately.
And which one's that?
Johnny, honestly, I won't know until they're given that chance. Because the thing with youngsters is they can be amazing at youth. They can get all the top stats at under 21, under 18s. But until they're in adult football, that's when you know what's what.
But that's why Lewis has been brought in as the transition man, having looked after the Spurs under 18s and now been put in charge of transition. It was him that was instigating the fact that all of these kids go out on loan. And let's be honest, best time is game time. And, we saw it. Alfie Devine playing in the Championship for Preston North End. Mikey Moore playing for Glasgow Rangers, right? These are all Dorrington playing for Aberdeen. It might be Scottish football, but it's still men's football. He's just 18. He was just 18 last week, Mikey Moore. And to be playing at that level is still a great thing. And we'll see. I think they'll all help develop them and
Johnny,
see.
Can I bring up the obvious thing though? When we talk about, and I tried to bring this up the other week when we had the conversation about all the youngsters going out on loan and us not giving any chance. But this goes back to all the same people saying this are the ones going, I really like Bergvall, really like Gray. Adogi was good. We're buying Sarr, another one. Odeber's another one. Tell's another one. The same people saying we're not giving these people a chance. Not Stel, because I know what Stel's opinion on the players. These players we're bringing in, the Odeber's, the Tells, the Takais, the Greys, the Bergvalls, essentially what they've done is replaced the youth team. Essentially what we've done is brought in teenagers.
Yeah.
We're trying to blood them. And then when people are going, we should have kept 2 or 3 of the kids who have gone on loan. Right, so we're going to have 5 or 6 youngsters plus 2 or 3 youngsters from the younger lot. It's just too young. And this is the problem. Those bigger clubs don't do that. So to Stel's point, what those bigger clubs are doing, like the Arsenals and the Cities buy established pros. So what they do is they're putting in 2 or 3 youngsters with established pros. What we're doing is we're buying youngsters, and then we've got more youngsters behind the youngsters. And in the end,
they're cock blocking.
They are cock blocking. This is the thing. When people tell me Gray and Bergvall, oh, love Gray and Bergvall, then going, oh, I can't believe we let Abbott and Donnelly go on loan. Cool, but you can't have it all. You can't find a place for the academy plus the young players you've signed. Sean said it earlier. You've got a 25-man squad. You can't have multiple people in every position. It just doesn't work.
We got Lancashire coming. We got Lancashire, right? We got Scarlett. We got Scarlett, and we got Mason Melia coming in. Right, Mason Melia would have been here this summer. He's 18 now. He'll come here in January. Now Mason Melia is an exciting prospect. But can I just bring up one player just to say, Parrott, 23 years of age. He's had 6 loans, God knows how many clubs. He's been round the world. Sometimes it takes a long while to find your feet. He scored 9 goals. He scored 9 goals already in the Dutch division this season. And he could probably, we sold him for 4 million. I think his current value is between 15 and 20 million pounds right now. Sometimes it takes a while for him to, or players to find their feet. And, confidence breeds confidence, like I said before. And it looks like, there is one player that at the age of 23, having struggled at so many loan spells, I've lost count. I think it was 6 loan spells he had before he went to Holland. I can only remember some of them, Millwall and a few others that he went to. So sometimes it does work out. But by that time, that ship has sailed. I think probably Spurs have got a sell-on clause for Parrott. There's no way we sold him for 4 million without a sell-on.
Johnny, he went for 6.7 million.
Yeah, plus the sell-on, mate.
Yeah. I agree to an extent with what Sav just said. And it's funny, someone behind me was saying at the game last Wednesday, every time the ball went to Tell, he's lost it. He's lost possession every single time. And the guy behind me was saying, that wouldn't have happened if Donnelly had been on the pitch because he can hold the ball. He's good on the ball. And no, it's a point. I would not have sent
no way of knowing that.
You've
got no way of knowing that at all. It's a throwaway comment, isn't it? But it's a throwaway comment that if that had been Donnelly instead of Tell.
Look at Tell. Look how poor Tell was on that pitch.
Okay. Listen, I'm not going to listen. I'm going to stick up for Tell a little bit here. Not that I rate him, but we're talking about Jamie Donnelly, who was good in League One last year, right? This is the problem, Lubo, right? If we're now going to start saying we want Donnelly in the team, so in your midfield selection, you want Gray, you want Bergvall, you want Donnelly. You can't have a team full of kids. You can't have it always.
A team full of kids. I'm not talking about a team full of kids. We don't have a team full of kids.
But hang on, we've got quite a lot of kids. Yes, we do.
Who's in our first 11? Which kids are in our first 11?
Bergvall.
At the weekend, we played Bergvall. We played Gray. You've got Odegaard and
Benson will come in. How many kids will we play on Saturday?
Hang on. Look, you asked me a question and then cut me off, right? But it's a squad game, Lubo. It's a squad game. Bentancur and Paulinho are not going to play 55 games this season, are they? Those two are not going to be fit every game, twice a week, 55, which means naturally whoever comes in is young. Whoever comes in behind them, whether it's Sarr, Bergvall or Gray, is young. So 3 of our 5 midfielders are kids, Lubo. 3 of the 5 are kids. 2 of our wingers are kids. Odegaard and Tell are kids. Right? There's 5 straight away there. You've got 5 youngsters there. And if you would keep Donnelly, people are talking about keeping Vuskovic. Now you got 6. Now you got 7. It starts to become it starts to become too much. For me, Spurs, I agree with what Stel says. But I think if Spurs are going to change and go to a method where we get to see some of these youngsters come through. Stop buying all these youngsters in front of them. And this goes back to my point. I know I don't want a big conversation on Archie Gray, but instead of paying 40 million for an Archie Gray, why couldn't an Abbott have been pushed into that position and developed?
But that's what we should be doing.
100%. 100%.
Exactly, Johnny. But when I say that, people go, "You're harsh on Gray." It's not that I'm harsh. You've paid 40 million for a kid where you've got kids in the youth team already. It's what do we want our process to be?
If you look at Arsenal, for example, right? You look at Arsenal, they have a clear path, right, for certain players, right? They come through, they're nurtured, and they won't block them. They won't block them. They've been brought along slowly, but you see Ethan Nwaneri, Dowman, Skelly. You've seen, and plus Smith Rowe, plus Nketiah. I can list them all.
Maitland Miles, Willock.
Maitland Miles. They're miles ahead of us. They're miles ahead of us in the process. The quality of players and the actual process of making sure they don't block the path. And if Ethan Nwaneri left and went to Chelsea and he was coaxed out, then they would have gone out and they would have bought Richy EZE to play in that side. But because they've managed to convince him to stay, that's not going to happen. But Spurs would have gone out probably and bought that left-sided player and blocked the path and sent him out on loan.
I just think you've got to have one path, Johnny. This is my. I think you've got to have one path. When everyone's going to me, I can't believe they've loaned out 13 youngsters. Well, stop buying youngsters in front of them. You can't have the youngsters, then the academy, and then we're all going, oh, we all want EZE, we all want Savio as well, we all want Hincapi, you can't have it always. There is a squad limit and a squad size. You can't have everything. I don't think I'm being too harsh on that. By the way, when people are saying Sarr isn't a kid, what I meant is Spurs have bought 3 young central midfielders over the last 2-3 years. That's what we've done. So, look, that's just me. I don't know. It's just me.
You know what? The stakes are so high in the Premier League and managers get no time. So kids lose out.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of it. You're bringing in.
Good enough, you're old enough.
You're going out and you're buying players. And the other teams are buying established players, and you get a few breakthrough. Lewis Miley's broken through at Newcastle. Brighton have had 1 or 2 coming through, haven't they? United have had 1 or 2 coming through.
Sorry, what? Sorry, I can't agree with this comment. Sorry, mate. They've sold Nketiah, Willock.
Savva, can I answer this?
Please go for it, and then we will wrap up in a minute. We will wrap up.
Arsenal 5-6 years ago had a problem in their academy where London Colney and Hale End, which is 2 different sites that Arsenal operate, were, rather than working together, working against each other. And there's some issue with the coaches as well in that. They restructured the whole thing. They also kicked out some coaches that were taking payments from parents to keep their kids in the academy. A lot got flushed out. And what they did was they restructured it. And what they have done in the process is actually have a proper player pathway now that's run where Hayland and London Colney actually work together. And they're now beginning to see the fruits of that in the first team. So also they've improved their scouting of players for their club, something that Paratici was doing for us as well until he had to leave, and because he was putting in some good work. And Johnny's mentioned it a few years ago. He was talking about it. Spurs have got everything in place, except they still haven't sorted out the player pathway. That they still haven't got that right. Arsenal, the last couple of years, you're seeing the rewards of what they did 6 years ago when they restructured it. So they are producing good players, Alex. They are. But so are we. We're just not getting to see the benefits of it because of the way we operate. But that's a debate. That's a debate we can have.
Another day.
Shall we let's wrap up there, guys? There's another show Thursday. Just before we do, let me just say thank you to Pablo Davo. It was a great show, lads. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Pablo. We really, really do appreciate that. Cracking show, guys. Lots to cover. And because we're Tottenham Hotspur, you know that more stuff will definitely have happened between now and Thursday. Whether or not it leads to a bomber, and by Thursday night when we go live, we will know whether EZE is playing for Crystal Palace in the Conference League or not. So this is going to be an interesting one. Bear with me 1 second. I am just going to see where we're going to send everyone tonight. Is there anything anyone wants to say before we wrap up, guys?
Thank you for coming. Come on, you Spurs. The journey begins. The feel-good factor. You should be going to bed tonight feeling good, guys, because we signed Jed to a new contract. We signed our new captain to a 4-year contract. He's going nowhere. And a bomber is just around the corner. The bomber that 80% of the fan base wants. And it's got to be for the first time in years and years and years that I can remember where universally one player is desired. And
I think I'd just wrapping up. I think we've had a very good 7 days. I think nobody thought we'd run PSG as close as we did. Thought the performance for most part was excellent. Romero signed 3 points, 3 goals and a clean sheet. Spencer signed, Mikey Moore signed. I think it's been a really good week for Spurs.
Yeah.
And here's to another good 7 days.
I just want to add before we wrap up that we began the Spurs 5 Premier League table where we predict the Premier League results in advance, and it goes into a league table each week. And week 1, Johnny, Lubo, Savva, and myself all predicted a win, but got the incorrect score, so we get 1 point each. Sean's top of the table because he predicted 3-0.
Oh.
So he's on 3 points.
My predictor, my chairman, my captain, my Spurs.
37 games to go, though. Right, there's 37 games to go. But yeah, Sean's
Let's be fair. If there's one person we don't want winning that predictor league, it's got to be Sean. It's got to be Sean, isn't it? It'll be my predictor league, my
channel.
Mr. Humility, eh? Mr. Humility.
Yeah, never knowingly oversold.
Guys, we will leave it there. Thank you very much. I am going to chuck you all. Oh, okay. I am going to chuck you all over straight away to Too Much of E. So please get over there and support Elijah. Always good to support Spurs channels. Please, when you get there, just type in Spurs 5 raid in however you want to write it. Thank you very much. We'll see you again on Thursday.
My chairman. Spurs 5 raid, my chairman.
Footballing raid.
Oh, my God. Thanks, guys. Take care. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Never knowingly mentioned.
As always, come on, you Spurs.
Spurs.